Alright, this is the rib theory stream. Last night, I typed out rib theory on my doc. Rib theory is about 500 words long. And I literally had to end stream last night, not because I was really getting tired or anything, but just because I wanted to think about rib theory. So that's what I did for about an hour and a half before I went to bed. For better or for worse, we're living the rib theory life. The same shit keeps happening, where I keep just thinking about Umineko all fucking day at work. I feel like... Ah, we are drinking water here. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to trickle in, maybe, before I get into rib theory. And by a couple people, I mean probably literally a couple people. But I think rib theory, like, answers a lot of things. It's cozy. It's a cozy little theory, and I think I have an idea as to why, of what Battler's original sin might be. Kind of connecting things with, like, ideas of genre and duality, and kind of thinking about what those colors mean. What's Beatrice's motive? Like, stuff like that. That's what I think I've kind of more or less tied together. I mean, regardless of how you paint it, this stream is going to be really fucking cool, because we got all this fucking trial shit coming up. Wait, YouTube AI Ask Studio? Oh, wait. Oh, I almost forgot to do the part, because it's actually worked. I did get 2 more followers in the last couple hours. I did want to thank them. Author the Genius and Goo User. Thank you for following my silly little stream, where I do funny character voices. And that's, like, the thing I do. I'm very performative about it. You guys should totally like, favorite, subscribe, the bell button thing. Do that, probably. I mean, I upload... If I have an Umineko VOD, it usually goes live at noon anyways, because I just don't like blowing up people's inboxes. Like, I think that's horrendous. But... overall... Today's been okay. Just fucking work and my back hurts and I'm tired. Oh wait, speaking of, let's take my magnesium. I was confused about the whole magnesium thing. But apparently what I learned is you're supposed to take the magnesium, like, more often. Like, not just, like, before you're going to bed, but you're supposed to take it, like, whatever the fuck. I don't know. These magnesium pills are huge. Which is really fucking funny. And they help me sleep, apparently. And I am an insomniac, so I do need all the help with sleep I can get. Just give me a moment, and then we're gonna switch over to rib theory. And rib theory is gonna be the shit. Rib theory might just be the answer to Umineko. If I'm wrong, it'd be really funny, because it's a really fucking cool theory. There's some micro theories in it that I wrote down of some predictions I have in the short-term future. Like, I do know yellow text is eventually gonna be a thing. I forget where I figured that out. I think I saw it, like, maybe on Steam or something. Or maybe somebody told me. But it's important. It's rib theory shit. Alright. God, why do I have so... Oh, wait. Oh, that would have been bad. I almost took too many. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Let's cut to rib theory. Let's get started with rib theory, since I think that's going to be really important. Let me go into my studio mode, which is a thing I can do. Screen capture, capture window, Umineko crack theory. And look at this transition. Effort. Whoa! Thank you, base transition. Anyways, I'd like to formally welcome everybody to Rib Theory. So I was really caught up with this reoccurring theme of red, blue, and yellow. With the witches, and like, what could that mean? And it kind of came... The idea kind of came to me when they had announced that there was 38 people... Or, yeah, 38 people in the crowd. And I didn't, like, tally who was, like, World of Demons characters and who was, like, Human World characters. Like, I didn't really count it too accurately. But the number that it was 38 did seem important to me because it connects with the number 19. And I keep asking myself, what happened 19 years ago? What happened 6 years ago? And I think this might be able to explain a little bit about what's going on. So here's rib theory. I think red, blue, and yellow, and I'm not sure about red and yellow. I'm not sure if I have them in the right spots, but just bear with me. I think there's a connection between the witches and Battler, George, and Jessica. So I think Battler is Burncastle. I think George is Lambda Delta. Initial connection to Battler, Furuto Erica, Battler's secret twin, which we don't really know about. We know about the whole thing with Kairi having a baby. It's kind of up in the air, the whole Furuto Erica part of things. With George and Lambda Delta, I probably have the least to go by for that. Arbitrating the trial, both George and Lambda see themselves as leaders. And then Jessica, you could like watch every VOD I've had for like the past week since episode 5 basically started about why I think Jessica is Beatrice. So to me, I almost feel like solving who Beatrice is was only 1/3 of it, in a way. I think Beatrice is still the person who did it, don't get me wrong. And then here's the actual part I typed up. Theory. Each of the witches corresponds to Battler, George, and Jessica, each controlling the narratives by using the characters as game pieces. Jessica, as Beatrice, has created this game for Battler as a chance to relive the world of witches, which he denied by never coming to play pretend with them again. As children, they all used to pretend at playing witches. While George and Jessica may have been able to work something out where they were cool with each other still, Battler may have told her that she thought the whole idea of playing pretend as witches was dumb, and just forgot about it as playing pretend as normal children would. Beatrice as Jessica may be recreating one of their games as children, where they imagined their servants, friends, and family members to be different characters across different games spreading across different genres. That was very bad writing from me. I did not proofread this at all. I just wrote it. This was total stream of consciousness. Jessica may have had an interest in witches, as girls do. That's something that's like mentioned constantly throughout this game. Especially, I believe, in episodes 3 and 4. So they involve things... So they do things that involve that stuff. So like every time, like Jessica's all about like those things, like the 7 stakes. Battler, who discovers blue in episode, I believe, 3? Yeah. Likely invented the Cheester sisters. Or maybe is like the impetus behind them, whatever that means. A parody of more American cartoons, mimicking Kinzo's affinity for the genre. And we know that there's that constant connection between, oh, that Battler, you're so much like Kinzo. And then finally, George may have created the Eisene Jungfrauen. But to be honest, we don't know too much about the Eisene Jungfrauen yet. I don't even think that's what they're called. I think they have like an actual name, but I'm just going to call them the Iron Ladies, the Eisene Jungfrauen. Though Maria was too young to play this game, she participated in it as her own witch. So did young Angie, with Jessica, Beatrice, and Maria, the last 3 members of the Mariage Sorcière. The last play-pretend group about witches. Furthermore, given the tidiness of how the Ushiramiya family tree works, when Gen 2 were children, Kraus and the other assholes, they likely grew up playing a similar game of witches, with Ava imagining herself as Beatrice, as Jessica has done now. Controller of the Gold. Like Maria, Rosa may have been able to play this game too, but perhaps getting too obsessed with escaping reality, she develops her own evil witch alter ego to compartmentalize her shit life. Finally, I think this may have all started with Kinzo, who himself was the progenitor of playing games about witches, which may have started playing with Kumasawa, who may be a relative of his, even if a distant cousin. Theory: Lambda Delta or George will be the first to use the yellow text. Theory: finally, the control of the game board will switch to Battler/Berncastle from Lambda. This is when Battler will get his cape. The witch controlling the game board, represents the genre of literature we are consuming, but also how Beatrice Jessica perhaps perceived Battler and George when playing as children. Because overall, whenever I do think this is being presented, I do think Jessica is Beatrice here. And I think Beatrice is the one who did this. Fun irony, because Baron is about miracles, and Battler sure is gonna fucking need one. Are the 7 stakes, Cheester Sisters, Sakutaro, and the Eisene Jungfrauen all toys? Maybe the reason why Kinzo created the epitaph is to let the children know that their dreams can die. That the marvel of fantasy can die, and what you're left with is a hateful, crushing reality. Kind of a little dark, but that's just one way to look at it. Maybe I'm just having a failing the whole blue-gray thing. Theory: will the game end with Jessica/Beatrice being able to move on from childhood whimsy, or will Battler be able to accept deep in his heart the idea that miracles can exist? To what degree does the nature of parenthood play in this? Are Battler, George, and Jessica all the age they claim to be? Are they triplets? Who really is their mother? That's like whole other shit that I don't think has been quite answered yet. What I thought of about 0171129 is that maybe that number is actually Battler's real birthday. And maybe he is 19 years old, and maybe so is George and Jessica. I don't really think that's a guaranteed thing. That's just more of like a spitball. But that's more or less the rib theory shit I have put together. And I'd love to hear what people say. God, this Umineko crack theory notes tab is getting so ridiculously long. All right, let us go back to Umineko and get started with things, because at this point, I am almost 15 minutes in and not a single line has been read. And hold up, let me figure this out. And now you can hear it. I just need to, there we go. Capturing is a weird thing, and I don't really understand it all that well. Could you imagine just somebody buying this game and being like, yeah, I don't think I want to... I think I'm going to skip an episode. I think I'll be fine. Thanks for repeating that, my master. If we hadn't made these things clear, you might have started going on about how they were already dead before I guaranteed everyone's alibis. Or that they weren't actually dead at all. Unsurprisingly, Beato's side couldn't get away with the simple plan of claiming that the victims were only playing dead. But in order to overcome Goda and Kumasawa's alibis, it should have been possible to suppose that the crime occurred before those doors were sealed. I need more water. However, the opponent had predicted this move. It had been shown in red that the crime did not occur before the time period covered by Erika's alibis. Got it. That's the last time the victims were confirmed to be alive. I wish you'd said that in the beginning. This means we can ignore everything that happened before midnight. To go even further, at midnight, Natsui, Kraus, and Genji were in a corridor on the second floor of the mansion. All the remaining people were at the family conference in the dining hall. Of course, at that point in time, no murder had occurred. Genji was also alive. We confirmed that those thought to be inside the mansion at midnight were indeed inside the mansion. Addendum, it has already been shown that none of them left the mansion before midnight, excluding Natsui. This isn't something Erika observed, but we can't move the game forward without settling it. Very well. I'll acknowledge that red truth. Thank you very much for that red truth, my master. Since Erika had been in the guest house, I don't have my Lambda voice together right now. I need to, like, lock in. It was only natural that she could explain the situation there. However, since she hadn't been in the mansion at the time, explaining the situation over there would have been extremely difficult for her. Beato would normally have attacked there with the blue truth, saying that people in the dining hall had all agreed to keep the same story, that someone had snuck out of the dining hall, and that they might have committed the murder in the guest house. However, because Byrne had instantly settled that matter with the red text, Beato had completely lost her chance to strike back. Damn it. Very troublesome. To think we would be put at such a disadvantage. This is almost the exact opposite of Riche's fights with Battler. In fact, the situation might be even worse than it was back then. At a glance, the fight between the two of them resembled our previous fights. However, there were some vital differences. The first was whether or not Beato was the game master. The Beato who fought against me was the game master. So she knew all the truth. That's why she was able to use the red text at will. However, the current Beato isn't the game master. She's just a single piece on the... Okay, that was a question I had last night, as to which level of narrative was this Beatrice. So I'm glad they acknowledged that this is Peace Beatrice. Thank you. I'm gonna call this scene the Tribunal. Very Disco Elysium of me. It's in the notes. In other words, even Beato doesn't know the truth. So you could say that Beato is now in the same position I once was. Also, though Erika may seem to be in the same position I once was, the situation for her is totally different. She's connected to the witch called Burn Castle. Even though she isn't the Game Master, she's capable of elevating Erika's statements to become Red Truth. Because of this, Erika can use the Red Truth even though she's neither a witch nor the Game Master. Beato, who's supposed to be the witch, possesses no truth nor red she can use. And yet, the detective, Erika, can use the Red Truth. The advantage is completely flipped over to the other side. Perhaps you could say that the current Beato is in a much worse position than I was when I fought with her. After I got used to the game, Beato stopped responding to my demands that she use the red. But in the beginning, she had responded to almost all of them, giving me quite a few hints. That's why we were able to fight on par. However, Burncastle is different. She fully understands the rules of this game and is prepared to corner Beato without even a hint of restraint. And because of this, I knew. In the past, Beato went easy on me so that we could fight on par with each other. This has become quite an amusing fight. I see, so I must fight from the position Battler once stood in. Beato. In the past, I've insulted you and called you incompetent. I can handle much, much worse than this. It's now impossible to suspect Goda and Kumasawa. You can't win by arguing that point any longer. Yes. Let's switch to a different approach. The next in line would probably be Nanjo. He was also in the guest house. Nanjo was in the lounge with Erika. However, I believe the time periods before and after that have been left open. That's right. I'll strike there. Nanjo, you were relaxing in the first floor lounge of the guest house with Erika and Goda, correct? Was the crime also possible for Nanjo, who was in the guest house? Yes. I was with Erika-san the whole time. And during what time was this? From 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Yes, that's right. It was the period between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. Dr. Nanjo, Goda-san, and I were relaxing in the lounge. Repeat it, my master. Do you even have to repeat that? I don't really think that's an important red truth. That's kind of a given. I mean, maybe so they have their I's dotted and their T's crossed, but, you know. Though she had flat out refused to repeat what Beato told her to, she responded to Erika's demand immediately. The red truth was starting to corner Beato. She grimaced as though in pain, but she still struck back with the blue truth. No, perhaps she really was in pain. Now that the characters apart from Natsui have had their alibis established, the illusion of the witch is also being denied. Beato perceived the denial of her existence as pain. Even so, he shouldn't have an alibi for the time period before and after you were in the lounge. It was possible for Nanjo to commit the crime too. That's right. I get that Nanjo was in the lounge with Erika from 1 to 3, but what about before and after that? What about that, Erika? Yes. First, the alibi for before 1 a.m. This is no problem at all. I played cards with the cousins in their room until midnight, and then went downstairs to the lounge where I met Dr. Nanjo. That's right. At midnight, I met Erika-san after she came down the stairs and spoke with her, learning that she was quite a connoisseur of the mystery genre. I realized that I'd found a kindred spirit. Interesting, Nanjo. I didn't know you liked mysteries so much. Putting a little pin in that. When I went into the library to solve the Epitaph's riddle, I noticed that there were several original copies of famous foreign mystery novels stored there. So I wanted to discuss them with the actual books in hand. We moved to the library and we were talking the whole time, constantly, until we moved to the lounge. Cramped though it was, that book storage room in the guest house was stocked well enough that it was fair to call it a small library. In it were several famous foreign mystery novels that Kinzo had once taken a liking to. Of course, they were all originals and in English, but English was no problem for either Erika or Nanjo. For this occasion, they had borrowed the key to the library one more time from Goda in the servant room. At that point, Erika checked the seal again and, of course, reset it. Damn her. Even though she keeps it sealed for anyone else to enter or leave, she alone enters and leaves whenever she wants. I see. So from midnight to 3 a.m., when you went to sleep, you were with Nanjo the whole time? That means Nanjo's alibi is the most rock solid of them all. Yes, that's it exactly. My master, repeat it. I'll respond. After midnight, Erika was with Nanjo the whole time until 3 a.m. Who would want to spend 3 hours with fucking Dr. Nanjo? Not me. At midnight, the crime in the cousin room still hadn't occurred. So this way, an alibi had been established for the period before the time they were in the lounge. After that, we walked out of the library and into the hallway at 1 a.m. When we did, we just happened to bump into Rosa-san as she returned. I then told Goda-san about that. I figured it was probably a servant's responsibility to welcome in a guest. Goda asked if he should bring a towel, but Rosa refused. She quickly headed up to the second floor. At this point, Erika, Goda, and Nanjo gathered together and decided to have a drink. Their alibis in the lounge up until 3 a.m. have already been proclaimed and read, so there are no problems there. Let's continue on to after 3 a.m. This is Dr. Nanjo's alibi after we split up. At 3 a.m., Battler-san returned, and the people in the lounge went their separate ways. Dr. Nanjo, Battler-san, and I went up to the second floor. I then said goodnight to Dr. Nanjo. At this time, of course, I put a seal on the door to the doctor's room as well. And it went unchanged until the crime was discovered. I flew out of my room at the same time as Battler-san's scream, and checked to see that the door to Dr. Nanjo's room was still sealed. Therefore, Dr. Nanjo's alibi is perfect both before 1 and after 3. Is it? Really? What makes it perfect? Couldn't he have just put the seal back? I mean, I know they've talked about this stuff before. Nanjo has an alibi. Hi, Eric. You missed my rib theory shit. I spent 15 minutes at the beginning of this going over rib theory. The short of it is I think Battler is Burncastle and George is Lambda, and I have no justification for this. And I think this was all just a game they used to play when they were kids, and Jessica's just way too fucking into it and won't give it up. And the reason why she's doing it all is to make Battler just have some fun again. Long story. Splendid, Erika. Both your seal and your red truth are perfect. Nanjo had the alibi of being with Erika until 3 a.m. And he didn't leave his room after 3 a.m. until morning. Erika made use of the seals on the doors and was granted red truths from Burncastle one after another. For me, demanding that Beato repeat something had been about maneuvering and tactics, but it's totally different for Erika. For her, it's like having a trump card that can make red whenever she wants. This concludes the proof of alibis for all suspects in the guest house. Any problems? Her seal has little slits in the tape. Oh, it rips. Plus, yeah, okay. Thank you. I do have a problem. And that problem is, Beata racked her brains to find some point to latch onto, but Erica's red had been ruthlessly perfect. There was no point she could take issue with. Beato kept thinking hard, trying to fault Erica on something, but her expression was so wrought with desperation that anyone could tell by looking. Beato's complaint is rejected. I can't sense any problems at all. It's totally pop, cute, and perfect. Alibis for all humans in the guest house had now been proven. Wait a sec, Erica. Are you trying to leave me out of this? Ushir and Mia Battler also should have had a chance to commit the crime. After all, I was in the same room as the victims all night. I'm not gonna let you skip past this part while ignoring me. Question mark, exclamation point. At that time, an arrow twisted like a golden snake and hit me. It didn't pierce through me, but it slapped me hard on the cheek like a whip. Battler-sama, your right to speak has not yet been recognized. Be warned. Ow, damn it. Yeah, I understand, Battler. And my apologies, forgive me. Erica, you still haven't shown an alibi for Battler. Battler is the man who was sleeping alongside the victims. Shouldn't he be placed under suspicion more than anyone else? Was the crime also possible if Battler, who was in the guest house? Yes. Beato was right. You can't go skipping Battler like that. My apologies. I had completely forgotten. That's bullshit, Miss fucking eidetic memory. Fuck you. You didn't forget. After Battler returned at 3 a.m., you went up to the second floor with him. And I believe you also went to your own room and slept. You may have gone to the cousin room at midnight, but I don't think you went there after 3. Will you now claim that you went to crawl into Battler's bed later on? Oh, okay, Beatrice, whatever. We know that's what you fucking want. Cackle, cackle. Well, if you say you were looking at Battler's sleeping face all night long to confirm his alibi in the cousin room, then I'd accept it, right? What? I hate her. Why? She never sleeps. Fuck Burncastle. Fuck Erica. Yes, I listened to him breathing in his sleep all night. Got a problem with that? What? I, Furuto Erica, can prove that Battler-san returned to the cousin room at 3 a.m., that he went straight to bed afterwards, and that he went straight to sleep. I can prove that until he woke up, noticed the gruesome situation the room was in, and let out a scream, nothing happened in that room. So you have no need to worry. Battler-san isn't the culprit. He's just the charming first discoverer who entered the murder scene without realizing it was one and slept until morning. That's insane. It shouldn't be possible for you to prove that with those seals you love so much. How can you prove this? That's ridiculous. At that time, I entered the room alone. Erica probably went into her room too. How can she say something like that, as though she saw the whole thing? She never said she saw it. The room Erica was assigned to, where it was located, Where was it located? Erica, please tell me. How can you prove so much about Battler? I'd expect no less from a true detective. My room was right next to the cousin room. There was only a single thin wall between them. You don't mean you put your ear against the wall to check what was happening in the cousin room? Yes. My ears are perfect. Fuck you. Right after Battler-san entered the room, I put my ears against the wall and checked to make sure nothing strange happened. You said you could prove that nothing happened until Battler let out a scream the next morning. That's a new Lambda face. You don't mean... Yes. I put my ear against the wall and listened in on that room until the morning. Without sleeping a wink. You're a freak. Everyone was stunned into silence. She put her ear against the wall, and for the entire time until morning, she listened to what was going on in Battler's room. You know, she would be really fucking suspicious if they hadn't said in red that it wasn't her. If they hadn't said in red that it wasn't her, then she would have been like the most suspicious ass fucker in the whole universe. I'm almost glad they did that. Just what would that have looked like? Until dawn, she had killed her breathing in a pitch-black room, clinging to the wall shared with the cousin room, like some kind of creepy, venomous spider clinging to the wall of a darkened room. Berncastle alone was grinning in triumph. Due to the progression of the game, I realized that Battler, the one who would receive the head's ring, would be a key player. I was sure that Battler would be a victim of the first Twilight. Yes. So, just as my master told me to do, I put my ear against the wall until morning without a wink of sleep, checking to make sure nothing unusual happened. Erica is a photographic memory, and her hearing ability is on par with a tape recorder. Fuck off. It would have been... Why is she just Berncastle's Mary Sue? It's unfucking real. Get a grip. Either to kill George... Wait, it would have been impossible for him to deceive Erica's ears. Either to kill George and the others, or make those wounds on their throats. It was impossible for Battler to commit the crime. It's an accepted power of the detective's authority. I have no choice but to acknowledge it. I'll confirm it in red. Ushirimiya Battler returned to the cousin room at 3 a.m. and fell asleep. After that, until the discovery of the crime, absolutely nothing out of the ordinary happened in the room. What does... Okay, so real talk? What the fuck does out of the ordinary mean for the fucking Ushirimiyas? Because at this point in the game, I think multiple people dying in the fucking room is pretty fucking ordinary. In other words, it was impossible for Battler to commit murder or damage the corpses. The red from the pair forced Beato to show an expression of considerable anguish. It was only natural. Those red truths not only guaranteed Battler's alibi, but a number of other things as well. First off, it meant that the murder was impossible for anyone after 3 a.m. And since the cousins were confirmed to be alive as late as midnight, the time period of the crime automatically became between midnight and 3. That meant the alibis for all people who weren't in the guest house before 3 a.m. had also been guaranteed automatically. It is impossible for the crime to have occurred after 3. That one hurts. A lot. After midnight, Erica was in the guest house the whole time, so it should have been difficult for her to prove alibis for all of the people in the mansion. It should have been almost impossible to prove alibis for Ava and the others. Now, all she has to do is prove that they never visited the guest house between midnight and 3, and then she can prove those alibis. Anyway, we'll have to construct it so that the murders were possible before 3 a.m. And we have to prove it was possible for one of the people in the mansion to do it. Water drinking moment. The people who had been in the guest house all had alibis. The crime didn't occur before midnight. The crime couldn't have occurred after 3. In other words, there was no way for the murders to happen unless someone from the mansion committed the crime between midnight and 3. Is it possible that someone in the mansion committed the crime between midnight and 3? Yes. In order to protect Natsui, she had to establish that it was possible for someone other than Natsui to commit the crime. Ironically, the witch had to prove that a human had committed the crime. Still, this is getting pretty difficult. Until 3, Erica was in the lounge. And you have to pass through there to reach the 2nd floor. In other words, she's practically like a manager for the guest house's 2nd floor. This is some Winchester theory shit. This is absolute Winchester theory shit. This tactic may be a bit overused, but if it was possible for someone to go up into the 2nd floor without Erica noticing, we should be able to prove that the crime was possible for anyone. It's probably possible for a human to climb up to a 2nd-story window if they really wanted to. Yes. Ladder. More likely, ladder. But Winchester theory is just fun, and I'm clinging on to it like a fucking buoy. I think I said that last night, but I am. Baby's first theory. I don't want to give up on Baby's first theory. Why is this music cool as fuck? And Barncastle must have thought this as well. Battler, Nanjo, Goda, Kumasawa. We realized that the crime was impossible for all these people in the guest house. However, what about the humans in the mansion? As I have already said, and as my master has proclaimed with the red truth, I was in the lounge on the 1st floor of the guest house. And to reach the 2nd floor, one must pass through the lounge. In other words, it was impossible to reach the 2nd floor without me seeing it. What if that wasn't impossible? For example, what if someone placed a ladder against the outer wall of the guest house and snuck in through the 2nd-story window? There must be a way to reach the 2nd floor without passing through the lounge. That way, it would be possible to reach this crime scene without you seeing it. It's almost like Goda and Nanjo were distracting Erika so that the murder could occur. That would be kind of fucking crazy. Beato finally struck back. Before now, she'd let Erika take total control and attack her with the red over and over. During that time, Beato's counterattacks with the blue truth had been few in number, even including this one. Of course I knew you'd try saying that. I couldn't have my lookout in the lounge become meaningless. So first, I must prove that my lookout was perfect. First off, because of how the guest house is constructed, it's impossible to reach the second floor without me seeing it from the lounge. There are no places under cover, nor are there any physical or mental blind spots. My master, repeat it. It is impossible for someone to reach the second floor of the guest house without anyone in the lounge noticing it. Though, of course, this only refers to reaching the second floor from the inside the building. Okay, thank you. I was worried about that for a second. Good, my master. So next is Lady Beatrice's theory that there might be a way to reach the second floor from the outside. This really is a problem. After all, there are trees that could probably be climbed, and someone could have used a ladder. Even crawling up the rain gutter can't be ruled out as impossible. But I can't let you do that. Oh, if you won't let me? And how's that? Did you stay up all night circling the guest house? No, you couldn't do that. You were in the lounge. From the lounge, you could only see a small part of the outer perimeter through the window. That's true. I couldn't prevent all methods of climbing up to the second floor from the outside. However, I was able to prevent all entry to the second floor. Prevent entry? I had already foreseen this move. How terrifying that she would be so persistent. Because of how the guest house is constructed, the windows are the only method of entry from the outside to the second floor. The locks? Not important at all. I only had to prove that none of the windows or shutters were opened even once. After I witnessed the location of the hidden gold, I returned to the guest house. Did she fucking put paper on every fucking window on the second floor? She's so addicted to crack. She is so fundamentally addicted to crack and needs to put down the pipe. She can't put down the cup. I can't fucking believe it. Yes, it's exactly the same. No different from the rest. Don't tell me. You used that seal of yours on all the windows of the guest house. In that weather, dressed like that. Well, I did have my swimsuit from when I drifted here. You're insane. At a house where you were welcomed as a guest, you did something like that in the middle of the rain, even though nothing had happened yet? For a normal human, it would have been an action so suspicious as to be completely impossible. However, she is the witch's piece. In the middle of all that rain, Erika sealed all the windows from the outside to create an alibi showing that no one could have snuck into the guest house from the outside. By the way, can I say this still all works completely fine if Jessica is Beatrice? Like, I'm unfazed. I've been unfazed by all this shit because I think she's wrong. Wait, we got a fan cam? Can I play this? Is this a copyright thing? I get a little spooked about this every now and then. This is a Tumblr post? Okay, that's fine. God, the fan cam. God, I'm going back in time. I don't even have a Tumblr. Never used Tumblr. Wait, let me...
Some y'all like, stop talking about me. Since y'all hate a bitch so much, the way broke bitches coming for me, know it gotta be free. But I get paid when I show up. Press, stress, obsessed, I got him. Everything I do, keep another bitch talking. Watching my back, cause these dudes be stalking. Watching my plate, got these broke hoes starving. Damn, you hoes hate me. Riding dick so hard, having babies. Y'all bitches so stop it. Making everything but a deposit, yeah. Killing bitches, send them to the gulag. Hot girl shit, never let them cool off. Make them do what I say, he my voodoo dog. Back shots,
ooh, what the fuck?
One thing about me that you need to know. I ain't nothing like none of these average hoes, cause I fucking want to. If they ask me why, I'm from the south side, niggas can't make me cry. Nigga, this head game lethal. Use my tongue, put thread through a needle. Bitch, I'ma movie these hoes, my sequels. Keep a pussy hoe real tight like a Kegel. Yeah, self-esteem high, bank account poor. Hoes going blind trying to look at my jewels. Ass real fat and my pussy get chewed. If I worry about the hate, I'll be a damn fool.
God, I fucking love Umineko. Alright. Umineko! Alright, let me make sure I get this shit working again. Because sometimes this is really goofy. Come on, there we go. She climbed up the wall herself and did that to all the windows on the first and second floor. No, all things that could possibly have permitted entry. Although after hearing that she'd listened to the cousin room, she'd listened to the cousin room all night long without sleeping a wink. This new bizarre action didn't quite seem so impossible. This had probably also looked like a venomous spider. A disgusting spider crawling over the outside guesthouse wall during a storm. You... What do you think of this Ushiramiya family? This is how you repay us for welcoming you as a guest? To a detective, the Ushiramiya family is nothing more or less than a stage upon which the crime occurs. Before the outbreak of the crime, it was important for me to memorize the names of the characters, memorize the layout of the land, and prepare for the upcoming crime by devoting my time towards collecting and creating all possible alibis. From my perspective, detectives who don't prepare anything before the outbreak of the crime are pretty third-rate. After all, we all know that someone will die wherever we spend the night. Furthermore, at the time the crime was discovered, Erica confirmed that none of those seals had been broken. How did she do that? Damn, she's fucking good. You gotta give it to her. She was definitely prepared. That's why Erica wasn't the first one to reach the cousin room when the corpses were found. That is true. She showed up fashionably late. Even without inspecting the corpses, she could be certain of several things thanks to the Red Truth. It was more important to check the seals and construct alibis. My master is perfect. All I did was prove everything perfectly by following my master's orders. Ew, what is that face? Well done, Erica. My double, my piece. What do you think, Lambda? Doesn't this prove that Erica's lookout in the lounge contains absolute reliability as far as constructing alibis? There's no way to reach the second floor without passing through the lounge. That doesn't work with Winchester theory, though. Yeah, I acknowledge it. Erica, your shield is perfect. I'll acknowledge it in red. It was impossible to reach the second floor of the guest house without passing through the lounge. And impossible to reach it at all without Erica, who was in the lounge, knowing about it. Thank you very much, Lady Lambda Delta. So, you know what's coming up. What's coming next, great Lady Beatrice? Therefore, the time of the crime is limited to a single hour between midnight, when they were confirmed to be alive, and 1 a.m., when our party in the lounge started. Oh fuck, I accidentally clicked out. Gah. Ah. I've already said it, but at midnight I went down to the lounge, hit it off with Dr. Nanjo, and was engrossed by the discussion of the mystery genre in the library until 1 a.m. It's a bit embarrassing, but I grew so wrapped up in it, that discussion, that I wouldn't have noticed if anyone had passed through the corridor during that period. Quite a regretful mistake for a detective. After doing all that maneuvering and setting up seals to guarantee a perfect alibi, she became too engrossed in a mystery discussion and left an opening? Her relaxed smile was completely shameless, the total opposite of her words. It almost seems like it's the other way around. It's enough to make you think that this was an intentional trap. To make it clear that to all that only Natsui didn't have an alibi between midnight and 1. In other words, it paradoxically means this. The only ones who could have reached the cousin room and committed the crime are those characters who have no alibi between midnight and 1. Her eyes clearly hinted that Natsui was the only one who fit this description. It is only possible for the crime to have occurred between midnight and 1. There's still a couple here that I think are important. Hold up, what were the ones? I have screenshots. Where are they? I'm so glad I took a screenshot of that. Episode 5? Yeah, the one I want to see how she answers is it possible that George and the others were actually just playing dead? It should have been a crime whose time and location were completely unknown during that long night. But because of the alibis Erica had constructed, it had been limited to the time period between midnight and 1. Erica left the cousin room at midnight. That marks the last confirmation that George and the others were alive. And after the party in the lounge started at 1, it was impossible to reach the cousin room by any method. I think it's really interesting that this time we didn't see what the first Twilight was. I think that's super interesting. Mind you, I don't really think we see it every time. I know we don't see it in episode 1. Or do we? No, we don't. Interesting. Damn her. And from a mere human. This is quite bad. The night has been sealed up into an hour, and at this rate, there won't be many suspect pieces left. Damn it, Lady Barncastle. Nicely done. Unlike Battler, I'm not an idiot. After watching this game 5 times, I've got more than enough cards in my hand. Then let us continue. Let's examine the alibis of the remaining suspects, the people in the mansion. After all, we only have to worry about the single hour between midnight and 1. That shouldn't be difficult at all. Let's start with midnight. At this time, Natsui, Kraus, and Genji are in the second floor corridor, and all the others are in the first floor dining hall. This has already been shown by my master's Red. Yeah, that's right. At midnight, Natsui, Kraus, and Genji were in the corridor on the second floor of the mansion. The rest of them were in the dining hall on the first floor. And as you know, there was a mysterious knock and the letter with the one-wing seal. And a letter with the one-wing seal on it appeared. I'm actually not really worried about how the letter got there. I'm more interested about the knock. The knock is more interesting than the letter to me. Definitely. The discussion surrounding that continued up until 1. The discussion surrounding that continued until 1. I will say it with the red truth. Of all the people in the dining hall, not one of them left the dining hall until 1 a.m. Oh wait, they did disprove this, allegedly. I gotta rewatch that. I actually might read it right now, because it's probably fucking important. This is gonna be the true family conference, right? No. Be the Great Court of Illusions. Yeah. This is a long-ass fucking scene. Jesus Christ, this is 6 parts. This fucking shit is so crazy. It's like super weak when they don't really talk about it all that much. They just kind of like not glaze over it. I guess they do glaze over it. They're just like, oh yeah, they're all really dead. But we know 6 years ago that Beatrice didn't exist. Or at least this current Beatrice Beato. I almost wonder if is that moment when Beatrice was created is when Battler first denied her to probably to Jessica. So maybe Jessica's like spiritually dead. God, could you imagine if I'm fucking right? That would be so fucking legendary. The adults in the family conference, who were confirmed not to have left the mansion between midnight and 1, all had proven alibis. And how do you intend to prove that? Erica's in the guest house. Did someone prove it by using one of your favorite seals on the dining hall door? You have no convincing evidence or proof. The red truth is simply the truth, and there is no need to provide evidence, proof, or room for a counter-argument. You made that rule. Like, it's like how kids, when they're playing games, have, like, super specific rules that they argue about, like this type of shit. No, it's my turn with the controller. This overbearing red truth hadn't only given alibis to the adults in the dining hall, it also gave alibis to Shannon and Cannon, who would come to serve tea. It even guaranteed that they never left the dining hall. Ugh. In other words, the only one who didn't have proven alibis were these three, Natsui, Kraus, and Genji. No, there were only two left. If Kraus and Genji had their alibis proven, it proves that no one but Natsui could have been the culprit. Let's do Genji next. He's a victim, but you can't deny the possibility that he committed the crime in the cousin room and then killed himself. And furthermore, though he was in the second floor corridor at midnight, he then returned to the servant room to transfer the phone call for Natsu and was completely isolated. Which means it was possible for Genji to commit the... I'll say it in red. When Genji finished transferring the call, he immediately returned to the waiting room. That's just a cold, hard truth, without any evidence, proof, seals, or alibis. Got it? That's fucking evil. Then at 1 a.m., I think Battler's gonna fucking save Beatrice here. When it's his turn, he's gonna be like, "You're fucking wrong, Erica. You're a total dumbass." It's gonna be fucking so good. It's gonna be peak fiction. Then at 1 a.m., there was another break-in the family conference, and Rosa returned to the guest house. At that time, "I'm truly thankful for your cooperation, Ushiramiya Eva-san. Please rise." Erica-chan wasn't the only one, okay? I was also certain that something would happen that night. She's the person who taught me how to make those seals, and she helped me to check the alibis of those people under suspicion. Of course she's fucking working with Ava, though. During the break at 1 a.m., I went to Genji-san's waiting room and used the same seal as Erica-chan. In other words, if that wasn't broken, it would mean no one entered or left that room between 1 a.m. and the next morning. Now Cannon and Kumasawa-san, please rise. Cannon rose expressionlessly and Kumasawa got to her feet timidly. In the morning, you two went to wake Genji-san because he had slept in, right? And at that time, you noticed the door was sealed, broke the seal, and opened the door, correct?
Yes. I thought it was some kind of prank.
I didn't think deeply about that. I didn't think deeply about it at the time. I'm not asking for your opinions. Just give us the facts. Did you break the seal and enter the room?
Yes.
Yes. With the red truth, I'll guarantee that Ava, Cannon, and Kumasawa's statements just now are the truth. At 1 a.m., Ava sealed Genji's waiting room, and that seal was broken by Cannon and Kumasawa in the morning when the crime was committed and when the crime was discovered. Reading is hard. This will be a pain, so I'll add some more. I'll add on some more. During that the short break at 1 a.m., the first two to leave the dining hall were Rosa and Ava. Until Ava returned, everyone in the dining hall remained there. After seeing Rosa off, Ava went to the waiting room and sealed it. Of course, she did not enter the room at all at this time. This is all information gathered from the people involved. It isn't a red truth without a basis. It's a truth due to proper reasoning constructed from testimony. Not only testimony, but the limits of scientific investigations such as collecting fingerprints were used here. After all, Kinza-san's study is a treasure vault with all kinds of chemicals. I obtained all sorts of results that create an ultimate truth, infinitely close to a red truth. This isn't a science mystery, so I'll spare you the details. Fuck you. I hate you. As Erica swaggered around the cathedral, she arrogantly touted her scientific knowledge. She had thorough knowledge of all the chemicals in Kinzo's study and had used them to conduct a scientific investigation, which had now been acknowledged and made into a red truth by Berncastle. She didn't explain the details, but she had obtained results that were convincing even without the red truth. Collecting fingerprints with aluminum powder, component analysis of the mud under someone's shoes, and various chemical reactions from the clinging rainwater, Erica just walked into someone else's study several times and used several chemicals however she pleased, all without asking the family's permission, and she was huffing the fumes. And she's really into, like, I don't know, kratom or some shit. Sure. Why the fuck not? However, no one could fault her for this. The pieces couldn't hinder any action the detective might take for the investigation. When is Battler gonna do all this goofy shit? Why is Battler just trying to solve this shit with the power of feelings or whatever the fuck? That's the power of the detective's authority. That's actually going into my notes. You act like you own the place. From now on, I'll tell everyone I meet. If someone claims to be a detective, never welcome them into your house as a guest. That is such a Disco Elysium moment. That's probably a good idea. Giving shelter to a detective is just about the worst omen of misfortune out there. Because of this, it has to be proven that it was only possible to reach Genji's waiting room and commit the crime between midnight and 1 a.m. And furthermore, by Erica's investigation, it has been proven that it was impossible for Genji to reach the cousin room. It had already been made clear in red that after transferring the phone call to Natsui, Genji had gone straight back to the waiting room. And because of Erica's scientific investigation, further red had been added, saying Genji never left the mansion after midnight. Because of this, it's been made clear that Genji couldn't have reached the guest house, much less the cousin room. Genji has an alibi. Okay. Now only Kraus and Natsui remain. Everyone else has had their alibis proven, haven't they? Impossible. Natsui's mouth flapped open and shut like a suffocating goldfish. And that's an accurate analogy. Natsui's mind was blank and spinning out of control, and she felt as though she really would suffocate. Ushira Miya Natsui, I'll give you one last chance. Confess that all the crimes were the work of your husband.
Fool! Do I look like the kind of woman who would falsely accuse her husband?
Beato? That face is so fucking creepy. Natsui's denied it. I'll give you the same chance. You understand, right? Or wait, don't tell me. You aren't going to take advantage of the fact that Kraus is missing to try to pull a devil's proof on me, are you? Was the crime also possible for Kraus? Gah! Beato realized that they were rapidly approaching the end of this battle. Normally, Beato should have been able to argue against these alibis of Erika's in several ways using the blue truth. However, all of those alibis have been accepted by Burncastle and Lambda Delta as red truth. They really have hijacked this fucking shit. And Beato no longer has any room to argue. No longer had any room to argue. It's like those witches are distorting things so that they match with a plotline Erika's drawn up. You don't say. That's right. If the Game Master, Lady Lambda Delta, accepts a truth, its authenticity will not be questioned. The world that comes after will be formed based on the final remaining truth. This happens no matter how far this final truth is from the real truth. There's no way Uncle Kraus is the culprit. He's being held prisoner somewhere. Yeah, right. Wait, we can't deny the possibility that Aunt Natsui was skillfully tricked into believing that during the phone call. Do you suspect Natsui and Kraus, Battler-kun? Well, Erika's truth has been constructed in a cowardly fashion, but it is a proper truth. Though the witches did conspire with her, it has still been acknowledged as a red truth. In other words, it cannot be a fake truth built solely on lies. This means that even Erika's truth is supported by logic. The truth about Natsui and Kraus being culprits is also very possible. Even if it's a mixture of the truth and lies, it makes sense logically. It's a mixture of truth and lies that is just valuable as truth is. Which of those two truths will you believe? That is up to you to decide. No, I'll trust Aunt Natsui and Uncle Kraus. I realize they're in some money trouble. But even so, I don't want to believe that they're the culprits. No, I can't believe it. On this game board, where the red is steadily cornering Natsui, how do you intend to let her escape? I don't know. However, I seriously don't want to give up. Aunt Natsui was just caught in a cowardly trap. Erika's reasoning has fallen for that trap completely. So whether it's intentional or she's being manipulated, Erika is aiding the true culprit. Erika has accused Aunt Natsui of being the culprit, but even if everyone here believes that, in fact, for that very reason, I want to be the person who trusts Aunt Natsui. If everyone believes it's her, will that become the truth? If everyone accepts a lie, will that become the truth? Must an honest person be dragged up to the guillotine all alone and taunted by liars? I don't like it. If no one else will believe in Aunt Natsui, then I will. The real truth isn't something that's determined when everyone accepts it. It's something you find after thoroughly investigating both possibilities. So this trial is a downright lie. This trial exists for no reason other than to set Aunt Natsui up as the culprit. Beato is doing all she can to plead Natsui's case, right? Wrong. Beato is trying to refute Erika's argument. She's just defending. You can't fight in this trial by simply resisting all your opponent's claims. This is why Beato always cornered me in the past. She isn't going to beat Erika by finding flaws in her reasoning. She has to find a different truth and show Lambda Delta, the commander of this game, that her truth is more correct than Erika's. Can anyone create a truth where Natsui isn't the culprit? I fucking can. Motherfucking Pier can. Without violating the red truths that Lady Berncastle has shown? I don't know. But as long as I don't believe that Aunt Natsui is the culprit, there's got to be a different truth. It's even okay if the culprit for the crime was a witch. That's better than having Natsui be framed by an incorrect truth. Ooh, that's a good line. That's like a wow, Battler has really changed line. So no matter how much red truth you were shown, you won't believe that Natsui is the culprit, correct? Yeah! For all things, there should always be some people who believe and some who don't. No matter how much evidence is stacked up against her, someone has to believe that she's innocent. There must be several truths in the world that cannot be proven with evidence. I don't ever want to accept that something's true just because everyone says it is. I don't know, Battler. I think if a tree does fall in the forest, it in fact does make a sound. That's just my fucking 2 cents. How can you be sure that there's nothing on the backside of the moon if you've never seen it? Is there... Why is Battler just like arguing devil's truthery now? Is there some reason that you have to believe it? I wonder if this is like Beatrice setting him up to win herself. Because at the end of the day, Beatrice still isn't like in charge. What if this is just all Beatrice shit and she's just like setting them up, Battler up to just be like, yeah, witches totally can be real because I want to believe in Aunt Natsui. That would be fucking crazy, but I don't think Battler would be... I think it would be kind of predictable if the game did it again. I think it only works one time. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Or fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Until you see the back of the moon with your own eyes, you can deny neither the possibility that there's nothing there at all, nor the possibility that there's a thriving culture of space bunnies. Okay. Whatever, Battler. Is that what we've come to? You should never assume something is the truth until you actually check it. This court is a malicious thing, trying to force a single interpretation on a truth that cannot be checked. I believe there was a civilization on the backside of the moon, but that was in elementary school and I was made fun of and laughed at. So I thought it was embarrassing to think that a civilization lived on the moon, and I threw away that belief. I've been told by a book by my mom read me that rabbits lived on the backside of the moon, so I believed that for a long, long time. But when everyone said it was wrong, I abandoned that truth without even trying to check it. Even without evidence, I abandoned the truth I believed in. And now everyone is starting to believe that Aunt Natsui is the culprit, even though no decisive evidence has been shown. Even without evidence, Erika's words sound reasonable, so they're probably the truth? Is that why you're throwing away your belief that Aunt Natsui is innocent despite a lack of proof? If no one else will believe it, then I will. I believe the real truth only appears if you look with both eyes, one denying and one affirming. No matter how much she tries to make us believe that Aunt Natsui is the culprit, I believe she isn't. I won't abandon that belief. Understood. Then I will give you just a single red truth. I will give this single bit of power to you now that you possess the will to fight in the truest sense. Power? By the name of the finite witch Virgilia. No, as the former witch Beatrice, I will grant you this red truth. Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! I can't believe at the very beginning of this episode, yeah guys, it's totally fucking Natsui. I've got this shit down. Of course the fucking blame shifts to Natsui. Me, like 15 minutes into episode fucking 5. Like redrawing the whole fucking board. And now this is the fucking payoff to that. I'm fucking cheering. Oh my fucking god, Natsui, I'm so proud of you. I got the biggest fucking shit-eating grin on my face. A plea bargain. If you acknowledge that Kraus is the culprit, Erika will suspend her pursuit of Natsui. From then on, the investigation will proceed assuming that Kraus, whose location is unknown, is the culprit. What do you do, Beato? At this rate, Natsui's in serious trouble, right? Will you accept the plea bargain? If you're willing to abandon this Ushiramiya family honor thing, Burn will be kind enough to let you get off with a draw, okay? Kraus is currently missing, and it's unknown whether he's alive or dead. Like Kinzo, he's no different than a cat in a box that has disappeared into the mists of the island. A cat inside a box is unfixed, and no interpretation of it can be denied. Is the root of endless interpretations, the true source of the Endless Witch's power. In other words, no matter how much Bernkastel claims that Kraus is the culprit, she can't make that the sole truth. In other words, the Kraus culprit theory and the witch theory can be almost in perfect balance. That would mean making the game a draw. This was cajolery, offering her a second chance if she abandons the honor of the family she swore to protect, and consents to a fragment that stomps all over that honor. There's no reason for false confidence. For Beato to lose is to die. In this game, she should always choose a draw unless she has an overwhelming advantage. I won't allow you to treat my husband like the culprit. My husband is the successor to the Ushiramiya family headship, the only person who will inherit the glory of the Ushiramiya family. I will never let you treat him like a criminal. Are you sure, Natsui? If you refuse to suspect Kraus, then you'll be the only one left. Alibis have been proven for everyone else. In other words, Temple's Raven. Even without any evidence, it will be determined that you are the culprit. And if I am the only one left, what then? I am Ushiramiya Natsui. What the fuck, Stream Boo? I didn't even fucking notice. When did they message that? I don't even think I can see from here. I will not run or hide. I am innocent. And I am the representative of the noble head with the one-winged eagle engraved into my heart. If you wish to insult me, then go ahead. If you wish to ridicule me, do as you please. No one can damage my honor with a mixture of truth and lies. With a dignified voice, Natsui stated her case openly before the witches above her. However, this response of hers might have been exactly what Bernkastel had intended. Natsui refuses the deal. And you, Beato, you understand, right? The instant Natsui is specified as the culprit, Lambda will make her verdict. As soon as that happens, the illusion of the witch will be denied, and you'll disappear into the mist. Do you plan to let Natsui's foolish bragging drag you down to the depths of hell? We haven't even seen Beatrice give a fuck yet, like real ass Beatrice. She needs to pull her shit together and just be like, you guys are all wrong. And then she's like floating in the air or some shit. I don't fucking know. It'd be really sick. Riche, you fought well. This is our chance. Convince Natsui to try work out a compromise. Both Lady Lambda Delta and Lady Burncastle have boredom. Not you as their true enemy. You probably want to have this game repeat and play some more. If they see that you're willing to make a concession, they will most likely accept it gladly and move on to the next game. If we move on to the next game, then what will happen to the Natsui of this game? The Natsui of this fragment? Now isn't the time to be worrying about that, right? Natsui is just a piece. Even if she gets removed from this game, she'll show up again as in the next one. But that doesn't apply to you, Millie. I believe you know that Lady Burncastle plans for this game. It's a more realistic goal to make use of that and aim for victory in the next game instead. Accepting Lady Burncastle's deal might be our one and only good option right now. Oh, this is also like a Beatrice's changing thing. Like, she's gonna stand it for what she kind of believes in, instead of being a cynical asshole. Throw away that useless pride of yours. Neither Kasparov nor Deep Blue won every game. I guess that's true. Chess reference. The person that wins more games wins in the end, right? If a witch gets too attached to a single match, a single life, a single piece, that witch dies. My apologies, but I cannot do that. I know the strength of a man who believed even though everyone said he was wrong. And I know the suffering he went through when he was forced to abandon that belief. I will not abandon Natsui. Why? Because if everyone else suspects Natsui, then someone has to believe in her. Because this is such a Beatrice Battler moment. Real talk. Because truth can only be found in the gap between those who doubt and those who believe. I won't abandon her. Even if everyone believes that Natsui is the culprit, I will still claim that I, the witch, am the culprit. If I can't even make that claim, my existence isn't worth anything. I cannot lose. The truth is something anyone gets to deny. Only when you doubt and abandon it yourself does it disappear. Is that your answer, Bea? Is that your answer, Beato? Yeah, of course I refuse. Ushiramiya Kraus is not the culprit. Fool. I won't let you take that back, okay? Here's what you get for being a quick-tempered moron. By the name of Burncastle, Witch of Miracles, I speak with the red truth. Ushiramiya Kraus is not the culprit. Yeah, that's not really that big for me. He was killed long ago. Interesting. What do you mean long ago? Shortly after you heard his voice over the phone. Oh, interesting. When did she hear the... Did she hear Krause's voice in the morning? Or did she hear Krause's voice at midnight? I don't remember. No, it definitely was in the morning. No. Dear. Burncastle's cruel and ruthless red blade gouged Natsui. It was totally merciless. Natsui had been crushed with uncertainty, not knowing whether Kraus was alive or dead, but she had still been capable of believing that he was alive. And now that hope, that expectation, had been crushed without any chance for a miracle. She had thrown herself into this trap out of concern for her husband's safety. She had now lost her daughter and husband, and everything she had gained since marrying into the Ushiramiya family. No, even after all of this, one thing still remains. If her husband has been lost, then right now, she is the last person who can protect the honor of the Ushiramiya family. This is like an episode 1 callback. She still couldn't let it end here. Even wrapped up in so much sadness, Natsui would do all she could to protect that honor. With this final bit of strength... Hello, Binga.
Nope, it's all over. It's been determined that with the red truth that none of the remaining people in the dining hall left that room after 1 a.m. In other words, alibis have already been proven for everyone except Natsui.
That sounds like a really fun time. Good. I would really recommend watching the beginning of this stream because I have a really good theory at the beginning of it. Rib theory, which I put a lot of thought into. And by a lot of thought, I mean 1.5 hours. Basically, the TDLR of it is Battler's original sin is wanting to stop playing witches as a kid with Jessica and George and Maria, and then he forgot about it like any child would when they play pretend as a kid. And the reason why Beatrice, who is Jessica, is doing all of this is to kind of bring Battler the idea of that like whimsy back and like not to like give up hope in a way. Like don't like believe in shit just because it's fun sometimes, you know? That's the TDLR of it. Or TLDR of it. I always get that phrase mixed up. Everyone in the mansion besides Natsui has an alibi. Ooh, we got some teeth there. We got some teeth. We got the bite of 87.
Well done, Erica and Burncastle. You've fully proven that the crime was impossible for everyone except Ushiramiya and Natsui. Why don't I start reading out aloud from the verdict?
At midnight on October 4th, 1986, the defendant Ushiramiya Natsui left before the others while pretending to return to her room to sleep, and murdered George, Jessica, Maria, Rosa, and Genji one after another during the 1 hour period before 1 a.m.
Let me tack something on. Due to the circumstantial evidence, including the murder of Kraus...
Yeah, that's right. In this situation, it's unthinkable that anyone except Natsui could kill Kraus.
A revision to the verdict. During the hour before 1 a.m., Kraus, George, Jessica, Maria, Rosa, and Genji were killed one after another. It's only possible for any of these murders to have taken place between midnight and 1. The only person without an alibi during this time was Ushiramiya Natsu. From this point forward, the defendant will be treated as the true culprit.
Furthermore, because it has been fully proven that the crime was possible for humans, Beatrice Endless Witch, this court of illusions hereby denies your existence.
Gavel. She needs a gavel. That would be so funny. She would love that shit.
You'll be given a chance to plead your case, but can you prove an alibi for Natsui? Or can you prove it was possible for someone other than Natsui? If you can do that, Natsui will stop being the one shade short of absolutely guilty. And the denial of your existence will be on hold for this game. If Natsui had an alibi, Beata would have shown it long ago. In fact, wasn't the whole point of that trap to make her lose her alibi? Even if her alibi is not proven, I will believe in Natsui's innocence, no matter how much you try to pin your fake truth on her. I am the true culprit. Natsui is innocent, even without any proof. The truth is known only by the master of the night on this island, Beatrice the Golden. Also, if I did want to suspect that Shannon is Beatrice, and the whole thing about Master of the Night and her name being Sayo, which means night, like, I don't know. Like, that could... But I think that's a little too on the nose. I don't think it works with George. I've said it before. I think it's more interesting with Jessica. To me, it's just a better story. I am Ushiramiya Natsui. Now that my husband has passed away, I am the head of the Ushiramiya family. My determination will not bend, no matter how you try and humiliate me. Why, you ask? Is it because father gave me permission to engrave the family crest of the one-winged eagle into my heart? Oh wait, it is because. How do you intend to disprove the existence of this honor with your evidence and your alibis? You cannot. The Ushiramiya family crest engraved into my heart is immortal. Now that Natsui and Beatrice had practically been placed on the guillotine, they cried out with all their strength and their determination. However, that did nothing but bring up a cold smile to Lambda Delta's face. Erica had constructed a truth that Lambda Delta could accept, and no one could construct a more convincing truth to deny Erica's. In that case, the most convincing truth would swallow up everything else and become the one and only truth. Even if it happened to be different from the real truth, the truth of those in the past is swallowed up by the truth of those in the future. This can happen even for a mixture of truth and lies, as long as everyone acknowledges it as true. Sheesh, stop howling already. I like it best when witches sob and beg for their lives when they're about to be burned at the stake. When they try and bluff like you do, it's such a killjoy. In that case, I guess I'll send you one final gift. A red truth to smash that bluff wide. What? What do you mean? Is it gonna be Natsui killed Kraus? Stop it, Lady Barncastle. Hasn't it already been overwritten with the truth you wished for? The truth and Natsui that truth and Natsui should be able to coexist. Please don't defile it. Please. Natsui? Ooh, that's fucking... Whoa. When did Kinzo ever say it was okay for you to engrave the one-winged eagle into your heart? Those were just the words of the Kinzo from your delusions, weren't they? Oh my god. You know, the real Kinzo. Not once in his entire life did he ever trust you from the bottom of his heart. And not once did he ever consider letting you bear the family crest. Damn, Natsumi sucks. She's such a freaking wet noodle. What a goober.
Why did she stan him so fucking hard? What did he ever do for her? When that heartless announcement was made, Kinzo stood up.
Natsui, you need not listen to this. No one can defile the crest engraved in your heart.
Fucking Kinzo crying is so bullshit. Kinzo is not fucking crying about this shit. Kinzo only cares about fucking Beatrice. Come on.
I feel so bad for you, Natsui.
What the fuck? Shut the fuck up.
That is yours alone. Don't let your pride as the final family head be forgotten forever.
This is the second time someone has been like acknowledged as the final head of the Shiramiya family.
Natsui.
Just shut up and disappear, you miserable delusion of Natsui's.
You cannot erase me. You cannot erase my soul. Not as long as the crest is engraved into Natsui's heart.
That's enough, you lying illusion. The real Kinzo wouldn't say that. Disappear. You, the illusion of Kinzo inside Natsui's mind, beatified, beautified, not beatified, by Natsui to suit her own purposes.
Wah! Nah.
Whoa! A bright red flash of lightning smashed Kinzo over and over again as he screamed, "It's not enough. He needs more." They need to put Kinzo in a hamster wheel and just make him run forever. This is so chapel coded. Then he crumpled like a doll and sat back down in his chair as though nothing had happened. The fierce emotion had left Kinzo's face. He had truly become like a wax model, and so he would never again share kind words with Natsui. That's right. The true Kinzo never once trusted Natsui during his entire life. The true Kinzo never once considered allowing Natsui to bear the one-winged eagle. This is so fucking funny. I'm not even surprised at this point. Because of course, Kinzo had already vanished before the start of the game. The Kinzo that appears in this game is nothing more than Natsui's. I wonder if the very first scene of this game is when Kinzo dies. Or is like the last time we see Kinzo alive. Because I reread that. Delusion. Every part of this Kinzo who believed in Natsui and entrusted her with protecting the family honor was a phantom created by Natsui. Pitiful woman. You will now face the truth that you never gained Ushiramiya Kinzo's trust as long as you lived. What? Natsui, don't cry. Kinzo entrusted the Ushiramiya family to you, right? No, he didn't. Not only did he not entrust her with that, he never even said hello? Or even met her gaze once. Get the fuck out of here, Natsui. Ugh. Ooh, ah. She's crashing out. Natsui's cry was a mixture of sadness and many other emotions, and it echoed throughout the cathedral. Hmm. I kind of am cooking with my mansion is Kuadorian theory. I'm doubling down on that theory. It's true. Natsui could no longer stop her tears. Some last faint element that had cheered her up until today, that had allowed her to endure Zenishira Miya as the wife to the head's representative and as the final family head, had been torn to bits. Natsui no longer had anything left. Natsui could no longer allow herself to even call herself an Ushiramiya. Those difficult days, those painful days, those days where she still gave everything she could for the family she'd married into despite it all. The very few happy days among these. Aw, Jessica, who might be Beatrice. All these flitted through her mind one after another and disappeared. All of those once beautiful memories were then crushed by Burncastle's red truth. Smashed to bits and scattered, plunged deep into her hands, and smeared red with mournful blood. It was the red sadness of truth. It was the red of sadness and truth. Reading is hard. That is all. Just because the crime exists as it does, this level of reasoning is possible for Furudo Erika. What do you think, everyone? Lambda Delta clapped. Then a bit later, Berncastle also clapped, looking pleased. The expressionless wax figure-like audience followed suit, and the unshakable verdict was welcomed with a great applause, and so the truth of this tale was decided. That's bullshit. And I'm gonna go get some water. Alright, give me a couple minutes. Alright, I'm back. That kind of had to be a multi-purpose break, because I'm pretty sure I went a pretty long time without stopping. I might not have even had stopped at all, to be honest. Right now, no humans exist on this island except for those in this parlor. And with one exception, it has been shown that none of them have committed murder. Oh! That's where we are now. This was the very first line at the start of episode 5.
Whoa, whoa. In that case, it's conclusive, isn't it?
Unless the culprit... Why did I read Rudolph like that? Oh my fucking god. Unless the culprit is a witch who committed murder with magic, that is. It was you? You killed George, killed my husband? Why? Why? I didn't kill anyone. I didn't. Ellipses. In a panic, with a voice that was far from calm, in a manner that was suspicious, in a manner that was, to put it coldly, unsightly, Aunt Natsui denied the suspicion placed upon her. So basically that whole scene did happen in the world of witches. So it's all kind of fucking meh to me. However, there was no longer any way around it. I'm cold. Do I have any socks? Do I? Yes, I do have socks. Do I have matching socks under this? Maybe not. Wait, I do. Okay. My footsies are so fucking cold right now. Compared to last stream where I was a total heathen and wore jeans the whole time, I'm finally back into my regular sweatshirt and pajamas. I feel very much at peace. And these socks are really cozy. Oh, I forgot to light my candle though. That's a shame. Okay. However, there no longer was any way around it. She stood up, brushed back her long hair, pointed at Aunt Natsui and said it one more time. You're the culprit, Ushira Miya Natsui-san. Red-faced and tear-streaked, Ava walked up to Natsui and grabbed her by the collar. Then, wordlessly, she slapped Natsui's cheek. Natsui, who had never been slapped in her life, was shocked by the taste of iron, which she was feeling for the first time. She clearly did not have siblings. Clearly an only child. Even that doesn't make sense. Hilarious. It turned into a scuffle between Ava and Natsui. Battler immediately tried to stop them, but Ava planted a sharp knee into Battler's gut and he doubled over. Give them back. Give back George and my husband. Why did you kill them? You murderer, murderer! Sobbing, Ava kicked Natsui, who had fallen to the ground over and over. Get fucked. Battler tried once more to cut in and stop them, but he was brushed aside. And after that, no one tried to stop them. She's just freaking pounding her. I thought people shipped these two. This is just brutal. Repeating her son and husband's name over and over, Ava kicked Natsui and kicked her. Then she started grabbing whatever her eyes fell upon and throwing it. Natsui was hit with a steaming teacup, In a can of black, this is the funniest shit of my life. Fucking Tom and Jerry ass shit. In a can of black tea whose tea leaves had fell out all over her. She was kicked, her hair pulled and dragged. Damn it, this is a fucking... Her cheek slapped so many times that it started to swell. No one tried to stop it. It wasn't because they were worried about Ava kicking them too. It was because they thought it was an appropriate act of retribution for a person who had lost her beloved son and husband. A proper retribution. A proper truth. Everyone in the parlor accepted that Natsui was the culprit. They accepted the truth Erika claimed. So it became a proper truth, and Natsui was designated as the proper culprit. How is it not even 11 o'clock yet? She had already lost the husband and daughter who might have protected her. And even Kinzo, who should have given her a final bit of strength, had already vanished like a bubble in the ocean of illusions. No longer would anyone protect her. No longer would anyone believe her. She was now the true culprit. Ava's shoulders heaved with her heavy breathing. Apparently her anger still hadn't abated. Erika patted her shoulder and made Ava take a step back. Of course, this wasn't to protect Natsui from violence. It was to further humiliate Natsui, now that she had been branded as the culprit. Natsui-san, I've solved 2 of the 3 riddles. The who done it, the how done it, and the final riddle, the why done it, must always be confessed by the culprit herself. Please follow the rules of the mystery genre and confess. The why done it refers to the motive. If this was a third-rate mystery, you would let out a high-pitched laugh about now, confess to the crime, and start telling the story of her sad past. Don't tell me you intend to make me explain that part as well. I am not the culprit. Someone believe me. I just had my husband taken hostage, was threatened, and fell into a trap. Natsui, with her hair a mess and her face red and tear-streaked, protested to everyone, but no one met her gaze, because it has already been resolved that Natsui was the culprit. Because Lambda Delta had acknowledged that the culprit of the tale was Natsui and had woven it that way, none of the pieces would pay any heed to Natsui's, to the culprit's words. Natsui isn't the culprit. I am the Golden Witch Beatrice. I am the one who commands Rokenjima's night. It was reigned since long before the time you were all still scared of the dark. Why can't you just call it my sin? Why must you suspect Natsui? Acknowledge me. I committed all the crimes. There's no way a human is the culprit. The illusion of the witch had already been crushed, and Beato's voice didn't reach anyone. A verdict had already been made. Everything had been decided. No one can hear you. Hold on, I'm gonna shove some popcorn in my face. Give me a second.
あんたは幻、ただの幻想。お帰りなさい、ただの肖像画に。金像の幻想を親族が共有することによって生まれた儚い幻の魔女。それがこの世界の選んだ真実なのよ。さあ、大ラムダデルタ教、この魔女を語るおこがましき愚かな幻想を今こそ葬り去りたまえ。
Okay. I really just fucking shoved my face full of food.
Goodbye, Beatrice. I made you a witch, expecting that you'd either become my friend or help distract me from my. And you've answered to my expectations. The second one is.
This is where real Beatrice needs to come in and be like, this is all bullshit. I am a witch. Even if Lady Lambda Deltas doesn't acknowledge it, I'm a witch.
Oh, sure, but you wouldn't even be capable of believing that if I hadn't become your guardian in the first place. Yep, this is game over for you.
You'll be buried in accordance with the rules of your game board. What happens to the losers in your game again?
Beato has already shown that clearly in a previous game. You get made into a mound of living flesh before being tossed into the goat's dinner party and getting chewed to bits. Now there's a fitting end for you, Beatrice. And I did come all the way here just to hear the death cries of one as haughty as you. One by one, a massive number of goat attendants slipped out from the shadows of the pillars and began to fill the cathedral. The goats paid no attention to Natsui, who was seated in the center, but the crowd completely enveloped her. From Beato's point of view, up on the balcony, it probably looked like a huge boiling pot of goats. That's right. The contract has been like this since the beginning.
Yep. Our contract said that whenever you stopped entertaining me, you would relieve me of my boredom with your life.
Strip the title of witch from this woman and throw her into the pot of goats.
Suddenly there were goats standing right behind Beato. They lifted her up roughly. This is fucking so crazy. Let me hear her nice screams. You're the wine I've been fermenting all this time. Then perhaps refusing request will be my final strike back at you. Yeah, I made her say it. The best screams always come from a girl who's just said some tired line like that. Fall. Beatrice. The goats carrying Beato no longer viewed her as their master. After holding her above the pot of clambering goats, which were snorting heavily in anticipation, they threw Beato's slender body into the air. All at once, the squirming goats faced the heavens and raised their arms. It was almost as though they would be able to forget their pain for just a short while by devouring her flesh. As she flew through the air, Beato tried to smile boldly, but it was so stiff that it seemed even more pathetic, much to Burncastle's amusement. When Beato fell into the pot, the goats caught her. Of course, they didn't do it gently. The arms of countless goats pulled at her flesh to keep it for themselves. They tried to tear her to bits. It didn't have to be flesh. Hair, fingernails, shoes, even bits of her dress were just fine. The bite of 87? The mouths of those goats were the gateways into hell. Into hell. However, Beata was too big to enter into that gateway, so they had to chew and tear her into bits small enough to fit into it. Beato let out a bold laugh. She laughed from inside the pot of goats. However, her expression was very different from the one she had wanted. It was an expression not of a witch, but of a single human yelling in her death throes. Then the sea of goats parted. Glanor! Flanor, let's fucking go! Flanor leapt forward, slicing all the goats in her path with a sink. I thought it was going to be Battler. I'm actually kind of surprised. With a single flash of her longsword, it was a clean slice like cutting through butter. The goats were surprised by Dlanor's sudden appearance and stepped back. In the center, Beatrice cowered in tatters, sobbing. What's this supposed to be, Dlanor, Inquisitor of Heresy?
My apologies, but I have something to say. There is someone who has an objection to this ruling. His name is Ushiramiya Battler.
Oh, that's how they do it, okay. All the goats stared at Battler.
What is unsatisfactory about the court's ruling? Do you possess any new evidence or truth sufficient to request a retrial?
Yeah. I get it. Flanor is offering me a helping hand. If she hadn't jumped in there, it'd all be over. And now I fully understand how I'm supposed to fight. But because I understand how, I'm unable to fight right now. After all, I can't win by simply countering Erika's truth. If I want to deny her truth, I'll need to present a different one. Hello, wise fool of death. Thank you for popping into my little stream. I still don't have a clue what truth is.
There is nothing that is healed with time, and there is no truth that cannot be reached if you spend enough time searching. However, all trials have a limited time in which the truth must be decided. Therefore, a truth cannot be reached without that limited time cannot become true.
I totally fucked that up, but okay. Yeah, I know that. By now, everyone is certain that Aunt Natsui's the culprit. It's really fucking good. I know why people said this is their favorite episode. This is so fucking fun. I mean, having all the characters, like, introduce themselves and I get to, like, switch between all their voices, like, last stream, like, that was so fun. This game is so fucking good. Aunt Ava's violence will probably go unstopped, and no one is even thinking about protecting Aunt Natsui. It's no longer a situation where we can say, oh, the truth will eventually be found. In this world, the time remaining to expose the truth is very short. It's already midnight at the game's end. The police won't come. The truth won't be revealed. Only the truth decided upon here and now will remain. I slowly stood up, walked in front of Beato, and faced Flanor. I have no plan. I don't know the truth. However, if I don't jump in now, I won't get another chance to fight. The red used by Erika's group is mercilessly strict. I seriously doubt that I can put together a truth where Aunt Natsui isn't the culprit without violating that red.
Why the uncertain face? How pathetic.
Damn it. Battler. I'll be the one to kill you. I want to keep that promise. And yet, right now, I don't have any plan at all. I don't know. Maybe it has to do with the whole thing that Virgilia. Yes, my theory right now is that Jessica is Beatrice. And that she is the true committer of the murders. Which has been like my big episode 5 theory. Because I went into episode 5 thinking it was Natsui. And I had to like immediately fucking like wipe the chalkboard away because I was like everybody else and thought, well, obviously concealing Kinzo's death, who has the most to benefit from that? Kraus and not Natsui. So that's what I thought. But then I'm like, oh shit. And then I put everything together and now I'm thinking it's probably Jessica. But we'll see. I'm really excited to see how this all plays out. Shannon is another possibility. But I don't think, I've said it before, I don't think it works. I think this story would be super cool if it was Jessica. There's also a lot of fucky parentage shit going on. It's all totally beyond the pale, but it's where I am. I think it has something to do with Jessica, because I think Shannon would have told Jessica that her mother's favorite season was autumn. I don't think that's that crazy, but I don't think it's a man. I think it's just not right. I think it's more likely that it could be Jessica like spoofing her voice somehow. I mean, even that's not really a big deal to me. Yeah, that's a great question. So that's actually kind of what I put together at the start of this stream. My idea is Battler's original sin is that he stopped pretending to play witches with Jessica. Like he gave it up. And he said it was all just stupid games that kids play. But she wanted to hold on to it. And the reason why she's doing all this, whether it's real or not, I don't really even know if it's happening. Yeah. Like, she was also part of the Mariage Sorcière. But that's why I think Jessica is doing it, is to, like, make Battler, like, believe and have hope and, like, see things with, like, optimism and, like, that wonder of whimsy of childhood. I also think the way it plays into the epitaph and Kinzo is, I think they learned how to play witches from their parents who learned from Kinzo. So like when they were children, the previous generation, the Kraus generation, I think Ava was the one who played it being Beatrice. And before that, it might have been Kumasawa, who might actually be like a distant cousin of Kinzo's. That's unclear. That's kind of just cracked, but that's kind of where I'm at as to who I think Beatrice is right now. I think it's pretty good. But I haven't double-checked it too much, and there's definitely some flaws against it, I think. That's why I've been rereading a lot of not Shannon and Canon. Well, actually, yeah, Shannon and Canon chapters, Jessica and Canon chapters. That's what I've been focusing a lot on. Especially when Canon attacks everybody in episode 2 with the red eyes. Like that, I'm trying to recontextualize that scene. In this world, there is no truth. The truth is made later on and overwrites what comes before it. Real truth doesn't exist anywhere. Now this is a splendid scenario, Dlanor. It just wouldn't be interesting unless a knight appears before the princess's execution. There's nothing better than watching heads roll before your very eyes. Erase the old piece and the unneeded player all in one go.
As you wish.
We love drinking water.
Glory be to the great Lady Burncastle. I am the head Inquisitor of Heresy, Dlanor A. Knox. Step forward, Ushirimiya Battler.
Damn it, I've got nothing more to lose. If you want to see me struggle, I'll show you. Here we fucking go. The only reason Erica's theory is so strong is because of those seals. She was given red so quickly just because Lambda Delta easily bought the alibis created by those seals. But the seals aren't red truth. Just sticking paper in a door crack is far from perfect. There's no way something like that can prove anything with certainty. Begin, Battler. Ready to let those goats turn you into a pile of meat along with your beloved Beatrice? Exactly. Oh, and I'll mix the leftovers from your precious sister into that pile. That is so fucked up. Wouldn't that make for a wonderful stack of meat? Then we can wrap it in a dumpling, steam it, and maybe add some soy sauce.
No, the best way would be to fry them in a pan with some eggs and ketchup.
That's fucking foul. How dare she use ketchup on eggs? Damn it! Can't we doubt the reliability of these seals of Erica's? Something like wedging some paper in a door can't create a perfect alibi. It might be that someone noticed by chance and happened to put it back in the same place. The blade of my blue truth should have slashed diagonally through Dlanor's chest. However, Dlanor's expression didn't budge in the slightest, and there wasn't a single wound on her chest. I was wondering what the route there, but this is ridiculous. Allow me to explain. This is what I sealed the doors with. Did you think this was paper, Battler-san? Erica once again held up the thing that looked like brown paper. This is packing tape. And its adhesive power is extremely strong. I used scissors to make it easier to take. She really thought of everything, huh? Furthermore, I wrote my signature, which cannot be reproduced, in 3 places. Across the tear point, across the edge of the door and the tape, and across the edge between the tape and the door frame. Therefore, it's impossible to tear it off without leaving a mark, and it's impossible to reattach too. Exactly. But this is like the character growth that we're seeing from Battler, is that he started, like he's improving the quality of his arguments. Like he's moved from just like arguing back, like defending himself, like Natsui was. Or like Beatrice has, like it's kind of interesting, Beatrice had to be on defense for once, and she kind of did it like Battler did. Where she was more about like, just, she wasn't attacking. Exactly. They kept this shit from Battler to make, because they were afraid of him becoming too powerful.
Permission to unsheath the red key.
Granted. The face is so fucking funny looking.
Due to the above, the seals are guaranteed perfect. Miss and the seals were not broken by anyone, and deception is impossible.
She makes the funniest fucking faces. I'll acknowledge Erika's seals. However, Aunt Ava's seal on Genji-san's room should be different.
Ava's seal was the same type as Miss Erica's. That is because this method of sealing was the one that Miss Erica and Ava conceived of together after dinner. I wonder what's for dinner.
Erika said something about a scientific investigation and fished through the chemicals in grandfather's room, right? There might have been some kind of solvent in there. If you use that, you might be able to tear off the packing tape without leaving fingernail marks. Please, allow me to speak. It is impossible to tear off any of the seals by any method without leaving marks.
Please, allow me to speak. There were no suspicious marks on any of the seals.
Therefore, it's been proven that nothing was done to any of the seals. Repeat it. Yes, gladly. All of Erika and Ava's seals were not tampered with in any way that hindered their ability to act as seals, such as being scraped off. Damn it! Damn you, using packing tape that leave marks all over the place. Lanor isn't my only enemy. There's also her subordinates, Gertrude and Cornelia. And also Erika and her master, Castle. And even Lambda Delta, the one who hijacked Beato's game. Everyone in the cathedral, everyone in this cathedral is an enemy. He is getting fucking jumped. I mean, Natsui got jumped earlier, but I just thought it was fucking funny. The fierce rush of red immediately repelled my feeble truth. It's obvious why. I don't have any alternate truth. Even at this final stage, I have nothing.
Were the seals all that you had to discuss? You promised to give everything you've got.
If I only knew a truth that could prove Aunt Natsui's innocence, if I could only make a theory that weaves it through Erika's red. Damn it, I don't know anything. Do you have a chance of winning? I left it at home. Mind if I go back and get it? I've already lost. I'm prepared for my fate. I promised that I'd kill you, so I won't let anyone else do it. Exactly, I 100% agree. Especially the servants, who are all very much complacent. You could argue in maybe some of the previous episodes. Especially Genji, Kumasawa, and Goda. I 100% agree, yeah. I promise that I kill you, so I won't let anyone else do it. I'll definitely keep that promise. Liar. I'll never trust your promises again. Like Battler will come riding back on a white horse or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's goofy that Shannon said that, but I'm gonna be so mad if Shannon's fucking Beatrice. It's real. He literally did that. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Something like that. He's goofy. Huh? When did I ever make a promise to you? What was the lie? God, I fucking love Battler. After hearing you say that, hell might not be so bad. Kill us, Burn Castle. Lambda Delta. Beato let out a shrill cry, overcome with laughter. It was a broken laugh, and tears streamed down her cheeks. Battler's words would no longer reach her ears. She kept on laughing insanely, like a broken record.
Is it over? Pitiful. I truly am disappointed, Ushiro Butler.
Kill me, Dlanor. Slice me in half with that red longsword of yours. And then he fucking like, let's assume that there exists some method X that can lead someone to the second floor of the guest house without passing through the lounge. That's Winchester theory, baby. Erica claims that the windows and such were sealed, but she can't prove that she sealed all possible means of entry. There's a possibility that Erica was unable to seal entrance X because she couldn't find it.
Nox's third. It is forbidden for hidden passages to exist. As the detective, Miss Erica sealed all entrances. Passages that the detective cannot find are hidden passages. Therefore, there are no entrances that Miss Erica cannot find.
I present the possibility that Erica's lookout in the lounge wasn't perfect. During the 2 hours Erica spent there, she really observed everything without looking away for a second. It might be possible for someone to have passed through the lounge during a small gap without at least Erica seeing them. Please, allow me to speak. Lady Erica's lookout in the lounge was perfect. There were no small gaps or carelessness or times when she looked away even for a second.
Please allow me to speak. Therefore, during the entire main lounge, only Rosa went up to the second floor.
But was that really Aunt Rosa herself? There's a possibility that someone disguised themselves as Aunt Rosa, or maybe she was actually holding a large suitcase with someone inside it. Okay, Battler. Suitcase theory.
Nox's tent it is forbidden for a character to disguise themselves as another without any clues. There are no hints suggesting that someone has disguised themselves as Rosa.
That's not true. There are some hints, but I don't think it means anything.
Furthermore, Erica has confirmed that she wasn't carrying any luggage large enough to hide a human in.
Ought not to. He was being threatened by someone. The uninvited unknown guest X is the true culprit. How can you be sure we're the only ones on this island? The true culprit is someone else.
Nox's first. It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story.
Maybe they were killed with poison in a remote murder. Maybe with a strange drug that could make a cut appear in someone's neck when they die. That type of murder has a delayed effect, so even with an alibi...
Nox's ninth, I think. Nox's fourth. Fuck. It is forbidden for unknown drugs or hard-to-understand scientific devices to be used.
Come on, Battler, you can do better than this. There's a chance that there existed a murder device X in the cousin room in Genji-san's waiting room that made a remote murder possible. It had some secret mechanism that still hasn't been discovered, and...
Nox's fourth again, stupid motherfucker. Nox's eighth. Fuck, I skipped it. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented.
Anyway, there exists a culprit other than Aunt Natsui. If you want to deny that, try and repeat it in red that none of the appearing characters were the culprit.
Nox's sixth. It is forbidden for accident or intuition to be employed as a detective technique.
I don't know, I think Sherlock Holmes uses a lot of mission. You say that everyone except Natsui has an alibi. You're forgetting one person. Who's gonna prove that Erika herself has an alibi? Nox is 7. It is forbidden for the detective to be the culprit. Valor is fucking getting destroyed right now. I didn't notice this earlier. I'm glad I looked. Ooh, that's a good one. I didn't think of that, Wise Fool. I like that. Why does she have glasses half the time? Look. No, why does she have glasses? Yeah, like, what? Why does she sometimes get glasses? What the fuck? No, I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna say that's an Easter egg. Unless she's caught red-handed, you should never be able to deny the possibility that Aunt Natsui is innocent. And you even deny future possibilities, like if a piece of evidence X that Erika hasn't discovered proves Natsui's innocence. Yeah. Beatrice and Battler really have had a last pretty rough couple episodes.
Nox's 8th. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that were not presented.
This tale is filled with malicious lies. That tale itself has become a trap to capture Natsui. The tale should be constructed only from impartial truths.
Nox's 9th. It is permitted for observers to let their own conclusions and explanations be heard.
I was the culprit, so maybe I gave George, Anaki, and the others a slow-acting poison to make them die after midnight, and then silently slit their throats when I returned at 3 a.m. I could have done it so quietly that Erika wouldn't hear.
Nox's 8th. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented.
Everyone committed suicide, so there is no culprit. Exactly, that's Battler's self-hate. And his incompetence. Battler really needs to freaking get his shit together. Please, allow me to speak. All the victims' deaths were homicides. Erika didn't personally examine the corpses, right? It should be possible for people who aren't the detective to make a mistake when examining corpses.
Please allow me to speak. Know that no examination of corpses could have been mistaken.
Then maybe there were body double corpses. They prepared corpses beforehand and closely resembled the victims. Know that no corpses exist except those of characters who've not. No corpses exist except those of characters who have appeared in the story. And then, how can you claim that Uncle Kraus is dead without his corpse? Doesn't that violate Nox's something or whatever? Ooh, that's fucking right.
Know that the red truth is simply truth, and there is no need to provide evidence or proof.
Battler, you just need to say what Virgilia told you in red. Is it all that hard? What the? Damn it! In the face of these insane arguments, any attempts to overturn the truth where Aunt Natsui is treated as the culprit are completely meaningless. Oh god. Each time I brandished my desperate blue truths, Vlanor and the others' red truths knocked me down to the floor. It was getting hard to even stand back up again. That's fair. Does that mean my body is telling me that I'm about to surrender? To the truth where Aunt Natsui is the culprit? Their red truth is getting more and more perfect. Each time I can think of a slip through a chink in their armor, Lanor smacks me down with the red longsword of Nox. Beato. That's enough, Battler. Now the endless torture that torments me, no us, will finally end. Let us fall together into the depths. I don't want to see Beato like this. Her majesty as the ruler of the Golden Land, her enthusiasm as my rival, are completely gone. She's just a pitiful woman who's been trampled over and lost all hope, with tears streaming down her face and a tragic smile that I can't bear to look at.
Does your truth no longer exist?
No. I have one last thing.
And that truth is that is a different truth? When Natsui isn't the culprit?
That's not it. All I can do is prove that Aunt Natsui isn't the culprit. After that, I can't show what the real truth is at all. But even so, maybe at least you'll be saved that way. Why? I can show without a doubt that Aunt Natsui isn't the culprit. However, I cannot show a different truth. If Erika's truth is dispersed, the crime will return to darkness and there still might be room for you to exist. Yeah, if you can do it. But you can't show a new truth. That means you're incompetent and as useless as a player. I'll have you vanish from this game board for all eternity. At this point, the Game Master is Lambda Delta, and she is there too. This probably doesn't mean losing a single game, but being banished from this game and for all eternity and losing. From what the witches have said in the past, I can faintly imagine that. Hold up. Whew. Needed a water break. I can faintly imagine a place pieces are sent when they're banished. It's known as the depths of oblivion, the Ganun Gagap, an eternal darkness that lies on the far side of an eternal oblivion where there is no concept of life or death. I'm going to disappear, aren't I? However, Beato will remain. As long as Beato remains, no matter how suspicious Aunt Natsui is, there will always be a skipped line that I accidentally fuck up. There will always remain a space for the witch to be the culprit. In other words, room for Aunt Natsui to not be the culprit. As long as that space exists, someone will eventually expose the truth. It doesn't have to be me. Anyway, eventually someone will smash this fake truth to pieces. I understood that the time had come to abandon myself for the sake of this other person who would eventually appear. For the sake of the real truth. Battler, I feel like this is bad. Well, it looks like I'll have to break my promise to kill you after all. Don't. Don't leave me as the only one alive. I'll disappear with you. Let that be your final tribute to me. I beg you, if you just do this one thing, I don't need anything else. Lambda really enjoys this shit.
Have you used up everything you have? I really am disappointed in you, Shiramia Battler.
Quickly perform his requiem. That way, I'll have an open field in which to expose Natsui-san's sin. These guys really are interesting, Beatrice. Oshiramiya Battler. But I've gotten tired of this. You aren't needed in our game. Our game. Do it, Glenar.
This is the end. If you still have one last bit of power, let me see you muster it now in your last moments.
It's small, but it's a sparkling red truth. The last trump card Virgilia gave me. Erica, this takes your theory back to square one. If you can, why not go ahead? Take this. Ushiramiya Natsui is not the culprit. The red truth is simply truth, with no evidence or proof needed. This will make Glanor stagger. Even if it's all it does, it's the first and last strike I can make. Oh, what the fuck?
Nox's second. It is forbidden for supernatural agencies to be employed as a detective technique.
That's fucking bullshit. Huh? My red truth was blown away by Glanor's red longsword. In this court, if anyone other than witches is going to speak the red truth, they'll have to construct an appropriate proof for it. Erica has been following this procedure, right? True. Erica hadn't used the red herself even once so far. She always had Burncastle, a witch, repeat her statements. Exactly, this is bullshit. They just made this shit up. Why didn't Beatrice just fucking lock in after Battler owned her in episode 4? Why didn't she just give a fuck? We need Beatrice right now to fucking save us. Your red truth. Wait, what if that happens? What if fucking real Beatrice, not this piece Beatrice, fucking is like, I'll fucking say it in red? Your red truth is something you obtain for yourself. It's a supernatural truth given by a paranormal being. Oh, I guess that's why it won't work, though. Unless he has an argument as to why Beatrice is somebody. In other words, it isn't reasoning. It's no better than a random thought. In that case, if I have Virgilia say the same red truth, where is Virgilia?
If you are to present that red truth, you must construct an appropriate argument. Can you do that?
No, it's possible. I just have the truth that Aunt Natsui isn't the culprit. Without any basis or evidence. See? Real truth is a very fragile thing. Does real truth exist? And is it necessary? Even without it, the tale will continue on. Battler.
Come on, Butler. Prove the red you've shown. If you cannot, this is goodbye.
Oh, maybe this is how Battler becomes the game master. Then, goodbye. Sorry, Beato. Don't say that. Thanks for sticking around with me. It was such a blood-stained tale. But it was fun.
The trial is now finished. Finished.
Wait. No, I wanna hear her say it.
Finish.
It was so fun when the dub did it. They did it way better than I could.
Finish. Die to death.
I love that.
Sentenced to death. The great equalizer is dead.
It was so... the first time I heard that, I was listening to the voice acting. Very fucking worth it. With that, the trial for the 5th game ended. The detective, Fururo Erika, accused the culprit, Ushira Miyanatsui. There are 3 riddles that the detective must explain. The first is whodunit. Who is the culprit? As previously stated, it is Ushira Miyanatsui. The second is howdunit. How did they carry out the crime? During the hour between midnight on October 4th, 1986, and 1 o'clock the next day, Ushira Miyanatsui went to the cousin's room on the 2nd floor of the guest house and the servant waiting room on the 1st floor of the mansion. There she carried out the murders. It is only possible for the crime to have taken place during that hour. And for that 1 hour, alibis have been proven for all characters except Natsui. Oh my fucking god. From the sky, a massive red longsword, even greater in size than the one Glanor held, came crashing down like a thunderbolt, piercing through Battler's heart and pinning him in place while he stood. In that instant, Beatrice became a gold splash and faded away. Yeah, F in chat for Battler. And her former minions disappeared as well. As the heartless witches looked down at the cathedral's center laughing coldly, all that remained was Battler with the red longsword sticking through him and Glanor.
Rest in peace, Ushira Miyanatsui. What a shame. I thought you were a more capable person than this.
Battler blew bubbles of blood, closed his eyes slowly, and died. Glanor stared on in silence, then turned on her heels when she saw his life leave him. We lost Angie, now we lost Battler. Oh, Battler will be back, he's fine. After that, all that remained was the corpse of this sorrowful man, pierced by the sword that acted as a massive red grave marker, and lit by the faint glow let in from the cathedral's skylight. Cathedral doors close. Is that episode 5? Okay, no. And then there's the third riddle the detective must uncover. The final riddle. The why done it. Why did they commit the crime? The motive. In third-rate mysteries, there's no need to uncover this. After all, even if you don't expose the motive, the culprit will just confess it when it's all said and done. You would put voice acting on here? Okay. I can do that for a bit. However, Furudo Erika was first rate, so she would expose even this. Natsui was being confined in the parlor, under everyone's watchful gazes. Then Erika made use of everyone to diligently and persistently search all places, even Natsui's room, for clues about her motive.
さて、お 集まりの皆さん、このような恐ろしい殺人に何が後宮夏日さんを駆り立てたのか。探偵フルドエリカの調査によりその輪郭が浮かび上がってまいりました。それをここにご報告させていただきたいと思います。
She gave me the fucking dick. Everyone remained silent, urging her to continue. Erika tossed some of Natsui's possessions that had been confiscated onto the table.
まずこれらは夏日さんの部屋から発見された過去の日記。
Really?
近年ではほとんど書かれていませんが、後宮家に籍を入れたばかりの頃については詳細な記述があります。これらの多くは鍵付きの日記帳に封じられていましたが、事件の全貌を暴くために全員の証人、これらの鍵を全て破壊させていただきました。
Fucking asshole.
人でなし。
Yeah, this is why she's a bad detective. This is why she's such a shitty person. It's because she's bending the fucking universe around her to suit her needs instead of doing what Battler's doing, which is more like holistic, more chill.
人の日記を読むなんて。
Exactly, that's great. That's a great way to put it. Because at the end of the day, she really is just Burncastle's self-insert Mary Sue OC. There's no way to put it.
ならあんたは何よ、殺人鬼。
Oh my god. Exactly. And Battler's the incompetent one. Meanwhile, fucking Fudo Erika is being spoon-fed the fucking world to her.
お前ごときにプライバシーなんてあるわけないでしょ。
この日記帳から浮かび上がったのは、夏日さんはクラウスさんと特殊な事情でご結婚なされたらしいということです。
Ooh, this is interesting.
ここにいらっしゃる皆さんは私よりご存知なのでは。夏日さん、クラウスさんご夫婦は恋愛結婚でもお見合い結婚でもありません。
Oh? This is new.
いわば人質のような結婚でした。
Why's my phone buzzing? That was stupid ass Reddit shit. Reddit's like, oh, if you have an NFT avatar, you're gonna lose it. I don't give a fuck. True. They just need to take Erika and throw her back into the sea from whence she came. She's like a fucking, like, Shogoth or some shit. Fuck her.
そのようなことはありません。この赤い日記帳の24ページに以下の記述があります。
Red Diary.
私は後宮家に嫁という名で軟禁された人質なのです。でも私が人質となることで全てが丸く収まる。
This is so fucked up.
夏日さん、あなたは自分が人質であったことをここですでにお認めになっています。熊沢さんは夏日さんがここに来られた当初からお世話をしていますね。当時のことを話してくださいませんか？
そうです。
I haven't heard Kumasawa's voice in like a long time. Maybe I've never even heard her voice, to be honest.
私にそうこぼされたこともございました。
Well, I'm gonna turn it up a little bit.
このバカが。
Yeah, exactly.
奥様のご結婚についての事情を知るのは今は私と南條先生くらいのものでしょうか。
What about Genji? Oh, I guess Genji's dead.
ですな。
Whoops. My bad.
当時は金蔵さんが縦横無尽に活躍する黄金時代だった。金蔵さんはあらゆる敵を打ち倒し、経済力を拡大していったのです。夏日さんの家もそんな敵の一つでした。
Oh? As though the time to talk had suddenly come at hand, Kumasawa and Nanjo openly delved into territory that should never have been touched upon again. This was concerning the period during which Kinzo was most feared for his ferocity. It has been said that, though Kinzo had many assets and connections, he held a grudge after being looked down upon by members in the elite as being an upstart. Because of this, apparently, Kinzo wanted to find Kraus a wife from a noble family and use this to raise the Ushiramiya family's status. Oh, I think they mentioned she was a noble earlier. Like, maybe way back in episode 2. Or maybe I'm thinking about Kairi. Then he overcame Natsui's family in a financial struggle and proposed a marriage be performed as a method of reconciliation. And the person he picked was Natsui. Natsui had been raised to be clean and pure in a family of Shinto priests, making her a true noble lady. Oh, episode 1, okay. By choosing her, not only did Kinzo cause them the worst possible humiliation, he also won what he considered to be a nice trophy. It's also like really probably disrespectful as Kinzo, as this guy who's really obsessed with American culture, to be like shitting all over Japanese culture like this. Just a little thought. So that marriage proposal was humiliating to Natsui from the very beginning.
この辺りの経緯については今熊沢さんと南條先生がお話しくださったものと日記帳に記されている内容が合致します。以上から夏日さんは後宮夏日を名乗ることとなった当初から
That's
後宮
speculation.
家に対し激しい憎悪を持っていたことがお分かりになると思います。どうですか夏日、それはお認めになりますか？
All the cold gazes turned to face Natsui.
確かに最初はそう思っていました。私は愛のない結婚を強要された花嫁という名の人質だとそう思っていました。
Kinzo is just one of the worst fucking people.
私を人質などと見下しはしませんでした。私の事情を理解し、同情と
Aw,
慈し
that's
みを
nice
与
of
え
you,
てくれました。
Kraus. That's like maybe the one nice thing Kraus has ever done. Besides giving all those nice, enterprising young men all that money that he never saw again. I love it how in episode 1 it's framed that he's just really bad at making he has it's in episode 1 it's framed that he has good ideas, but they're just way too far out. But basically it's not even that. It's just that he's such a dumbass and he's being abused by like young men whom he probably has a crush on. Source: my crack pipe. That's why why do you think it took Natsui and Kraus so long to have a baby? Because it was a lavender marriage. He's too stupid to be Kinzo 2.0. He's too stupid to be the killer.
夫だけは私の理解者だったのです。
なるほど、それは一理あります。気遣ってくれる描写がいくつか散見できます。しかしあなたはそれをこちらの日記帳の47ページで、むしろ気持ちが悪いと描写していますね。
This is so fucked
以下
up.
朗読します。クラウスの気遣いはむしろ私を惨めにさせるだけ。
Is it that far-fetched that she could have changed Erica? Is it really that far-fetched?
そうして私を恥ずかしめているのではないかとさえ思う時があります。以上から夏日さんがそんな気遣いを見せていた夫を嫌悪していたことがうかがえます。
What? She's literally trying to cancel Natsui. She's digging up Natsui's tweets from 2012.
確かに最初はそう思ったこともあります。まだ日々を不安に過ごす私が気遣いを素直に受け取れず、邪推してそう記してしまったこともあったかもしれません。
I was just being edgy on Twitter. It was the norm.
私はやがてそんな夫の気遣いに気づいて、その気持ちを受け入れるようになるのです。
その記述は日記帳のどこにも登場しませんが、
Yeah, and like what I mentioned earlier as to why I think especially Natsui isn't the culprit is that I don't think Natsui would ever want to bring the suspicion, humiliation, the doubt that came whenever Ava was the only survivor of the island. Natsui would never want that for the Ushiramiya family. Ever. Like, I think she's an okay person. That's really interesting, Bingo, though. It's just kind of goofy because, like, we're not even sure, really, how reliable, like, the whole Angie story is in the grand scheme of things. That's, like, one of my big questions is about, like, the nature of Angie. But that could be, like, explains that whole fragment shit. Fragment shit.
日記にさえ書かない秘められた気持ちというものもあります。
Yeah, she probably just stopped keeping a diary.
あらゆる証拠品と証言か
She's
ら
a
多角的に
hamburger.
構築して、あなたが夫に激しい嫌悪を持っていたことは明らかです。
This is so
そして
bullshit.
逆にあなたがおっしゃるような、やがて受け入れるようになっていったことを示す証拠は
I'm
存在し
so
ます。
glad I hopped off the fucking Natsui's the culprit train the second episode 5 came because I knew it would be a fucking red herring. I'm so proud of that. Maybe it was a little obvious, but I'm proud of myself for the bare minimum. Because I almost fucking did it.
私は夫は
Yeah, she's basically desecrating somebody's like identity.
その発言を赤き真実に昇華させる証拠証言の構築はできませんよね。
愛を語るにも証拠がいるというのですか。
赤き真実以外は何も信じられません。赤くない発言は何の証拠にもならない。何の信用もできない。
It's so cool that like this is shit I used to say. This is shit I used to say. But now I read this now and I think it's fucked up. Yeah, we've talked about kind of like Ryukishi's history of like social work a lot. We kind of talked about that, especially with a lot of the Rosa Maria plot lines in episodes 2 and 3.
赤くない文字はすべて私を欺くための偽りです。愛してる？
愛してる。
白い文字で愛を語られて誰が信じるんです？赤くない言葉なんて何も信用できない。この世で信じられるのは赤き真実とそれを得るために主に
Like,
捧
but
げ
the
る
red
供
truths
物の
we
商
know
品
are
だ
just
けです。
corrupted. Like the truth can be twisted, you know? And that's what the red truth really is.
真実を語れぬ嘘つき人間どもめ。
It's less about what they're saying and more about what they're not saying, I think, sometimes, when they speak the red truth.
赤き真実なき人間に愛も心も真実も語る資格なんてないんです。
知ってました。
You know, she's talking big game, but she's saying this shit all in white text too.
男はあなたたち女が思ってるほどバカではありませんよ。男は女の愛しているなんて本気で真に受けたりなんかしません。
What?
かわいそうな人。
Why not?
本当に人を愛したことがないのに。
探偵に恋愛は不要です。恋愛という単語など殺人動機を示す以外で使用した覚えがありません。
Also, wait, I forgot to mention this. Like with rib theory, I think each of the witches represents like a different genre almost. Like Beatrice represents fantasy. Barncastle represents like mystery. And I think the last one is gonna be Lambda, who might represent like romance. I forgot to mention that. I didn't even write it down. That was like a thought I had in the shower at like 2 a.m. last night. I actually, let me put that in my notes because that forgot to go down. Because one of my theories is that Barncastle is gonna become a game master at one point. Yeah, that's, I guess, why I think that works.
あなたが何と言おうと。
Because we do know this game does love playing around with genre.
私が愚痴ばかりを日記に記していたことは夫にも謝らなければならないことです。
And we do know Lambda Delta is kind of obsessed with the Battler Beatrice ship.
しかし私は夫に
But so
心
am
を
I.
捧げていました。それはたとえ証拠で示せなくてもそれが真実なんです。
却下します。往生際が悪いですよ。
Because you didn't write in this fucking diary that your husband is actually like your Pookie Bear, you murdered him. Sorry. Exactly.
証拠と証言からあなたが後ろ宮家も夫もすべて憎悪していたことはもはや明白なのですから。
そうよ。私は何度も聞いてるわよ。あなたが陰口を言っているのをね。
Well, that's because I just think Natsui likes to kvetch.
あなただって秀吉さんの陰口を口にされた日もあったではありませんか。
Oh, and you've never talked about.
主人を殺したくせに何よその口の利き方は。死になさいよ。死んで主人に詫びてき
Oh
なさ
my
いよ。
fucking god.
乱暴はやめてください、エヴァさん。今は私が犯人を追及して断罪する甘美な時間。
Convict?
あなたのものではありませんよ。さて、その彼女は数年を経て表向きは生活に馴染んだように見えましたが、
Why was this auto-modded? What the fuck? I don't understand automod at fucking all. How are you gonna fucking say nothing wrong? Is it because you called Battler a hypocrite? What the fuck? I might be turning off automod my next stream. I don't think I need it. I can moderate my own fucking chat. She appeared to have gotten used to her way of life.
実際は心の中に強い憎悪を募らせたままでした。そんな彼女の中にいつか復讐したいと思う気持ちが芽生えたとしても何の不思議もありま
Erica's
せんでし
just
た。
lazy. Like she is just totally ignoring that. And she made up some bullshit justification as to why it wasn't real. Each time Erika read Natsui's diaries one after another, she exposed more of Natsui's emotions during those painful days. Natsui hadn't written them to leave those words behind. She had written to forget those memories and seal them away. That is so fucking real. That's why she had written down her feelings during those painful days. Yeah, because she's fucking covering for the culprit, basically. The killer. However, Erika claimed that these were Natsui's true hidden feelings that had been locked away and concealed. Since it had already been concluded that Natsui was a murderer, everyone accepted Erika's claim. By this point, the red truth wasn't necessary to establish Natsui's motive. As long as the reason seemed plausible, everyone would believe it. No matter how much Natsui might object, no one would believe her. No one could accept the truth Natsui spoke of about the days she had spent loving her husband. That had been painted over by a false truth in which she hated her husband and swore revenge against him. The pen of the gods that composes the truth had been given to Erica.
だから何？あんたの事情なんて知ったことじゃないわよ。人殺し。人殺し。
Oh my god, that was
おやめなさい。
fucking ferocious.
私には夏日さんの気持ちもよくわかるのです。
いつかこういう日
Nanjo,
も来るのではないか
bury the
と
fucking
思っ
lead,
ており
buddy.
ました。おいたわしや、おいたわしや。
親父のわがままな人生に振り回された。
Holy shit, my Rudolph voice is so much different than that Rudolph. 'That is not how I imagined Rudolph sounding at all.
気の毒な犠牲者の一人だとは思うぜ。
私は奥様のその心の痛みを存じておりました。そしてその支えになりたいと日々思っていたのですが、力及ばずこのようなことに。
僕には愛憎の気持ちな
Oh
んて
my god, Cannon's fucking high ass pitched voice. Cannon's voice is higher than mine.
わからない。
This is the goofiest shit he's ever said. I kind of hate that he said that.
そしてそれは生きる目的にも殺す目的にもなり得る。
I'm turning off the voice acting. Is Aunt Natsui? She really was like standing on the shoulders of Battler to figure out all the fucking heavy lifting Battler did to learn that fucking Kinzo was dead to begin with. I mean, it's so fucked up. Is Aunt Natsui really the culprit? Well, now that you mention it, there is just one person besides Natsui-san that might be the culprit. What? Hey, are you serious? Why didn't you say something that important sooner? Natsui-san. The truth is, there is one person besides you for whom the crime was possible. Oh, please don't say Jessica, I will fucking die. If you truly claim that you aren't the culprit... Oh, Kraus? Is she gonna do Kraus? She's not gonna say Jessica, is she? It means that person must be the culprit. Huh? Who is it? Who? Get the fuck out of here. Shut the fuck up, Erica. I was so worried for a second. Ah! Early this morning, Kinzo-san went outside through the window of the third floor study, and his location is unknown. Isn't that right, Battler-san? Just like Natsui-san, Kinzo-san has no alibi whatsoever. The truth is, for this crime, it was possible for Kinzo-san to be the culprit as well. I just assumed that he never existed in the first place. So I totally forgot about him until just now. Allow me to apologize. This is so fucking stupid. She didn't look shy or apologetic in the slightest. Erica bowed in as unpleasant a manner as ever. She held a grudge ever since her defeat in the study battle. Natsui-san, you gained Kinzo-san's trust and are the person who served closest to him, right? This is fucked up. So shouldn't you know... Also, this music is really sick. So shouldn't you know better than anyone else? This incident is actually the crime of the family head, carried out by Ushiramiya Kinzo-san. You dare call father a criminal? Don't worry. I have prepared more than enough evidence and testimony to explain the why done it if Kinzo-san was actually the culprit. He is crazy. If you say, for example, that you have put yourself on the line to cover for Kinzo's crime, I am more than capable of supporting you. Ever since the late period of the author Ellery, that's a weird name, Ellery Queen, even the theory created by the detective can sometimes change the plot itself. You really can't afford to be careless in this day and age. I won't let you treat father like the culprit. Natsui-san, calm down, place your hand on your chest and think carefully. If you accuse Kinzo-san of being the culprit, this entire case will be resolved. You will no longer be held accountable for another person's actions and your honor will be restored. In other words, by pushing the crime onto Kinzo, Natsui would be saved. However, I have been entrusted with the honor of the Ushiramiya family by father. Did you really think that I would defile father's honor, the Ushiramiya family honor, just to clear the way the false accusations made against me? Of course, Natsui-san knew that she wasn't the culprit, and she also knew that Kinzo wasn't. So being framed herself and pushing the blame onto Kinzo were both unacceptable, unbearable outcomes. Are you sure? As I've already established quite thoroughly, alibis have been proven for everyone except you. If you will not accuse Kinzo-san, then this time it really will be clear that you're the culprit. Yeah, she's probably like thinking about what she wants to do. Also, I find it really interesting that it's never been explained in the fucking game what happened to Kraus. Like in the world of demons, like they are like, oh yeah, Kraus is dead, sure. But what exactly confirms Kraus's death in the world of humans? Like, why doesn't this work for me? I'll put that in my notes. I mean, I don't care whether he's actually dead or not. It's bullshit that she just gets to pull that and have no justification for it just because it's fucking red. I want my fucking detective rights back, goddammit. If you intend to label me as the culprit and call your own personal truth, then do whatever you like. I am sure that God knows of my innocence. This time it'll really be clear that the culprit and that'll become the truth, right? Eventually he will prove it. Angie had to sacrifice herself. If it came to a choice between her and Kinzo being framed, Natsui would sacrifice herself. Perhaps that was her way of protecting the Ushiramiya family's honor. Aunt Natsui, and I even gave you a chance. Stupid woman. This future where your name will eventually be cleared doesn't exist for any of you. Not for any of the pieces on this board. Natsui had made her decision. If they were going to call her the culprit, she would let them. She boldly rejected the thought of selling Kinzo's honor to gain a momentary truth where she wasn't the culprit. And therefore, the tale was woven with her as the culprit. Maybe. In the future, if the accusations against her are proven false, this tale will probably be rewritten. However, that future will never come, I think. Truth is a fleeting thing. Even if I am a good person until my death, if some heartless person after my death overwrites the records and say I wasn't a good person, and if that is shared with everyone else, but even all the goodness in which I lived my life could be overwritten easily. So I think that I won't live as a good person for all eternity. If you claim that Kinzo-san was not the culprit, he will need an alibi proving that the crime was impossible for him. Oh! So this is how she gets her to admit Kinzo's dead. Otherwise, we cannot truly be certain that you are the culprit, Natsui-san. Erika is probably known for a long time. Kinzo is nothing more than an illusion made to make the inheritance problem more uncertain. However, it would very... This scene is really fucking good. However, it would be very hard to prove that he was an illusion. The only way to do this would be to confirm Kinzo's death. We are getting very subtextual up in here. But as has been made known by the Red Truth in the previous games, Kinzo died a long time ago. And in this 5th game, his corpse hasn't even appeared. In a situation like this, it wouldn't be easy to absolutely prove his death. So where's Kinzo's corpse? When are we gonna find the Ushiramiya family fridge where they're keeping Kinzo? If Kinzo's death was confirmed, it would practically erase that defeat in the study. It was the only way Erika had of removing the humiliation of that loss. And there was something that could confirm Kinzo's death almost as certainly as real proof. And that was the confession of the culprit. It would mean having Natsui herself acknowledge that Kinzo no longer existed in this world. That way, it would be acknowledged that Erika's reasoning in the study was correct. That loss would be painted over, and it would be rewritten as Erika's victory. So it's more about beating Battler at this point. Battler hung suspended by Dlanor's red longsword. Beato had disappeared by having her existence denied, and her minions had gone too. In this cathedral that they had disappeared from, only Natsui and the witches convicting her remained. So, you still claim that I think this is a good place to stop, I'm not gonna lie. I think this is a good place to stop. I knew this was going to be a crazy ass scene. Okay. And that'll give me plenty of time for both, and then I probably can even fit in maybe some theory crafting tomorrow. Then let's make tomorrow a tea party, actually. We haven't had a tea party in a while. Yeah, I'm gonna buy some cookies. Let's bring our tea and cookies tomorrow, guys. I haven't had a tea party in weeks. I don't think I've had a tea party since episode 3. Wise Fool of Death. Every now and then, on my Umineko streams, I decide that I'm gonna drink a bunch of tea and eat cookies while I play. So we're gonna be doing that tomorrow. So please feel free to bring your tea and cookies. I will see you guys tomorrow then. I'm so excited. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I appreciated it. Alright, well, I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.